Infinite projection room begins with the projection of Ultron's world destruction. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. Anyway, Happy New Year. Hellblazer, on air. On the ruins of a church, two disheveled scavengers were collecting some valuable things. Suddenly, one of them found a cave, and there was something inside the cave. Rich experience told him that he was lucky. The scavenger in red reached down, and after some groping, a wrap thing was brought up. It seemed to be wrapped in a flag, with a red base and black and white patterns. Looking closely, it turned out to be a German flag. How many years has World War II ended? German flags have long been dead. I don't know whether the red-clothed scavenger didn't care or didn't know that it was a *** flag. Anyway, he unwrapped the package and found a golden spearhead inside. The scavenger glanced at his companion cunningly and found that the other party didn't notice the movement here at all and silently reached over. His experience told him that even if this thing is gold-plated, it can be worth a lot of money. If it is pure gold, it will be a big profit. The moment he picked up the spearhead, he was completely wrong. His eyes. Bruce Wayne keenly noticed the difference. The color of one of his eyes is wrong. Captain America, that is the flag of Germany. Third, could it be Hydra? Captain America, those guys collected all kinds of treasures all over the world during World War II. I'm not surprised at all that they collected all kinds of messy things. Tony Stark, these guys are really haunting. It seems that this is probably our world. Captain, let Jarvis scan the church. I have updated Jarvis's scanning function, and now it can perform fuzzy search. The video continues. Mania, what are you doing? Seeing the young man in red crossing the road in a trance, his companion called his name in confusion. The next second, a speeding car didn't have time to brake, or didn't intend to brake at all, and hit him hard. But the expected scene of blood and flesh flying did not happen. The car turned into a pile of scrap metal under the influence of huge impact force and inertia, and the young man in red was lying on the car motionlessly. And on his arm, an extremely strange symbol appeared. The next second, the young man in red actually stood up and ran away quickly. It was as if the previous collision didn't hit him. Oh my god. Peter looked at the young man in red on the screen, subconsciously calculating how strong the impact was just now, and correspondingly, how tough the body of the young man in red must be. 2. What is that gunhead? Tony asked the professionals in confusion. The two professionals frowned. That gunhead should be some kind of magic weapon. Strange guessed, just like my eye of Agamotto. I don't know what it is. After all, I'm not a magic mirror that can answer any question. The video continues. In an immigrant family in America, a mother just opened the door of her daughter's room and was so scared that she sat on the ground and screamed. Her daughter was hanging upside down on the ceiling at this moment, with an extremely hideous face. She was possessed by a demon. Faced with this kind of supernatural phenomenon of demon possession, only professionals can be asked to solve it. So a handsome guy in a black suit with a cigarette in his mouth was invited by a priest. The exorcist, John Constantine, is here. So this is your counterpart. At this moment, everyone suddenly realized. The case is solved. The case is solved. Brothers, it turns out that it was your work. Constantine looked at the handsome guy on the screen and the cigarette in his mouth dropped in shock. This is a bit unexpected. Constantine lit a cigarette again and said, why not call it Constantine, a name that is easy to associate with. By the way, do you know Hydra in the Avengers, or Stark Industries? Tony asked. He had to first confirm whether the other party was from the same world as him. Although the possibility was not high, he still had to ask. No. Constantine looked at the look of relief that flashed across Tony's face, but didn't say much. After all, normal people would never want to find such things as demons in their world. Image continues. Crossing a corridor, Constantine came to the girl's room under the gaze of everyone. The girl possessed by the demon was tied up tightly at this moment. After Constantine entered, he got straight to the point and started the exorcism ceremony directly. He opened the curtains, then took out various religious symbols and exposed them to the sunlight until he found a symbol that could make the demon extremely irritable. This is Constantine's exorcism method. He teaches this and that, and it's all good. If necessary, this man will borrow dark magic or demonic power without hesitation, even if he needs to betray his teammates. As long as it is necessary, he can do it. The next second, Constantine walked in front of the possessed girl, took out a magic weapon, and pressed it on her forehead. It is obvious that this inconspicuous little thing has a huge impact on the girl, or the demon possessed by the girl, and it hurts the demon so much that it fainted in the end. Constantine was a little confused. It shouldn't be possible. The next second, the girl struggled again. Constantine knocked her out with a punch, and then said to the person next to him, "Give me a big mirror, at least 3 feet high." After so many years of wandering around, he still deals with demons. If Constantine didn't have 2 brushes in his hands, he would definitely not be able to get by. Constantine chanted a spell, trying to drive the demon out. Even though he had warned the onlookers not to open their eyes under any circumstances, some people still opened their eyes driven by curiosity. The next second, he paid the price for it. That is, his hair turned white in an instant. Constantine trapped the demon in the mirror, then threw the mirror out of the window and smashed it, and the demon died with it. After finishing the job, Constantine was about to leave, but he saw a painting on the wall with a weird gun head painted on it. Seeing this, Constantine tore the painting down directly. "It's New Year's Eve, and I'm alone, typing for you. My life is so miserable. I miss the night 2 years ago when someone accompanied me to celebrate New Year's Eve. Woo 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 woo." Chapter 152 You're Still Smoking. After the exorcism was completed, Constantine's intuition told him that something was wrong recently. He not only took the painting, but also asked the priest to help pay attention to what happened recently. If there is any abnormality, notify him immediately. Back in the car, the guy next to him complained to him, "You know this is not my car, but you still do this." "I told you." "Yes, but if you make it clear that you threw a 300-pound mirror with an angry demon inside, I will definitely move the car farther away." In the confessional of a church, a young woman is confessing. "I haven't come to confession for 2 weeks. The woman said in the confessional, "I killed someone today." After a pause, she continued, "Killed another one. I didn't even see his face before I pulled the trigger. Most police officers haven't fired a gun in 20 years. Why do I always know where those guys are hiding, the direction to shoot, and the time to shoot? I wonder if there is something wrong with me, whether I'm cursed." Father, God has his own plan for you, and the same is true for all of us. Don't let guilt cover your faith. I'm trying very hard. Wanda, is she a police officer? Strange, it seems so. Wanda, then why should he feel guilty? Those guys committed a crime and tried to resist with guns. They were lucky not to be shot dead. If they were killed, they deserved it. Wanda, even the law does not stipulate that the police cannot shoot at criminals. This is a legitimate arrest. Bruce Wayne, child, your idea is totally wrong. Even if they have committed a crime, they should be subject to the approval of the law. Individuals cannot approve them, let alone kill them. Wanda, forget it. The law is written by people. Instead of handing these guys who deserve to die to those idiots who abolish the death penalty, I think it's better to shoot them and be done with it. Bruce Wayne, why do you have such an idea? You are just a child. Wanda, I learned a lesson from the fight with Thanos. That is, to deal with evil people, violence can only be used to fight violence. Violence is by no means the best way to solve problems, but it is definitely the fastest and most effective way. Wanda, can we catch Thanos and let those idiots sentence him to decades of imprisonment, and then release the madman after he is released from prison? Wanda, do you know? In my world, there was such a case. A madman killed dozens of people, and then he was only sentenced to 21 years in prison, and the treatment in that prison was better than that of an ordinary resort. You can search for Breivik incident. Bruce Wayne was embarrassed at this moment. No matter from whose point of view, Breivik should be shot on the spot and his bones should be crushed to ashes. Even if the death penalty is abolished, it should at least be a life sentence, and it is a kind of torture 3 times a day. But some people have problems with their brains. Wanda, so I can't understand where the guilt of the female police officer comes from. Constantine, I can still explain this to you. Constantine, among the rules that Christians must abide by, there is no killing. Constantine, because all human beings are lambs that God has released on earth, they are God's own property. Of course, lambs cannot take away God's property, so they cannot kill or commit suicide. If these rules are violated, you cannot go to heaven. Wanda, humph, what God? I didn't see him come out to help when I fought Thanos in Wakanda, but he has a set of rules to manage people. Wanda, you are not a Christian. Constantine, don't worry, I don't believe in that old bastard God either. I did so much work for him, and what happened? Just because I had a criminal record before, he said he wouldn't let me go to heaven. TMD. Strange, that, Wanda, you are different from us. You'd better not talk nonsense, now that you are not in the live broadcast room. Strange, at least in our world, God does exist. He is a powerful father-level being in the outer plane of the earth. According to my records, God is very stingy. If he knows that you say bad things about him, it will be very troublesome. WandaVision world. Wanda turned her head and looked at Steven. Doctor Strange, in this world, what I said is right, but God's strength is just like that. He is ordinary among the fathers. He can't compare with Master Ancient One and God King Odin at all, not to mention Dormammu. Don't worry, even if he is not in the Supreme Sanctuary, God dare not attack you. Steven thought to himself, the one behind you is the real terror. The video continues. The policewoman seemed to be in a dream. She ran up to the rooftop, then jumped down, and fell into the pool, forming an inverted cross. The next moment, the policewoman woke up. The scene changed, and came to Constantine. Constantine stumbled to the toilet and spit out a large mouthful of blood. When he came to the hospital, and got his medical examination report, Constantine knew his condition. Lung cancer, or in the late stage. Looking down at the cigarette in his hand, Constantine said self-deprecatingly, the things I deal with may not be heard of by ordinary people, but now I have to die, because of a small cigarette. You are not the first, John. Drive Rice, who treated him, could only comfort him in this way. Len, you saved my life before, you can save it this time, right? This is malignant. Dr. Les said, 20 years ago, you didn't want to come here, but now you don't want to leave. You're still smoking. Dr. Les saw Constantine still smoking, and he didn't know whether to be angry or helpless and said, yes, just keep smoking. Seriously, John, you should prepare for your funeral. I already know where to go. On a road, the red-clothed scavenger kept walking with a gun in his hand, and where he passed, the living died, the grass and trees with it, just like the death passing through. Then, Constantine came to a church. Here, Constantine met the policewoman who appeared in the previous scene. The two actually knew each other. The appearance of Guyi will be updated tomorrow. I can't hold it anymore, so I withdrew my brothers. I like this sentence very much. God. How many divisions does he have to be so arrogant? Exclamation mark. Chapter 153 New Year's Day First Update. First come, first served. Constantine walked over without any gentlemanly manners. In the library, Constantine saw an elegant and somewhat androgynous blonde woman. In the eyes of ordinary people, this is just an ordinary person with an elegant temperament, but under Constantine's psychic eyes, he has a pair of huge wings on his back. He is actually an archangel. This person is Gabriel, one of the foremost respected archangels in heaven. However, compared to seeing the angel's true body, what made everyone in the screening room more concerned was the other party's appearance. Oh my god. Master Ancient One. Strange sprayed out the drink in his mouth when he saw this scene. This is a homonym of the Ancient One? Tony Stark's mouth twitched, and he said, as expected of the Supreme Sorcerer, none of your homonyms is simple. Your homonym ate a bunch of demons, and turned himself into a monster, while the Ancient One became an angel in another world, and he is Gabriel, one of the archangels with a high status in heaven. It's exciting enough. By the way, the Ancient One is really good after growing hair. The women I have seen, woo. Shut up, brother, aren't you afraid that the Ancient One will throw you into the abyss of the universe? Believe me, no one knows women better than me. Tony was just missing an accordion at this moment. Strange didn't say anything, but thought to himself, no one knows more about portals in the cold wind and heavy snow in the Himalayas than me. Wanda, that's not right. Don't angels have white wings? Why is this Gabriel black? Peter Parker, black wings. Wouldn't that be a fallen angel? Loki, foolish human, your human myths are all lies. Wanda, indeed, I didn't expect that Loki, the god of trickery who could trigger Ragnarok in Norse mythology, would be so useless. Loki, you damned little girl. Avengers building. Odin's one eye also revealed a trace of curiosity. Angels and demons from another world. Interesting. He has also seen and beaten angels and demons from this world, and even fought others side by side. Although he was almost beaten to death by the other party, he was forced to sign a series of humiliating treaties that were humiliating to the country, including that he could not interfere in the affairs of the earth at will. To be honest, angels are pretty weak. Except for a few archangels. Ordinary angels are not as good as the Asgard Berserker Corps, not to mention the Valkyrie Corps. After so many years, he hasn't seen that guy Jehovah for a long time. Otherwise, while he can still move, go to his place or something. Your Majesty Odin, do angels exist in our world? Nick Fury hesitated for a moment, but still went to ask the person who was most likely to know the answer. Of course they do. Odin said, we used to come to Midgard frequently thousands of years ago, but later, for some reasons, we stopped coming to Earth, unless there was a special situation. Then, is it true that angels protect humans and that human souls go to heaven after death? Ha 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 ha. Odin burst into laughter. Why would angels protect you? They don't owe you anything. Angels live in another dimension. Now there is a temple barrier on Earth. Even if they want to come and take away the souls of ordinary humans, it won't be an easy task. You should give up your plan to go to heaven after death. Image continues. Facing the Archangel Gabriel, Constantine was neither humble nor arrogant, and went straight to the point. That is, whether he can go to heaven after death. Gabriel also answered him more directly, you are dreaming. On the other side, policewoman Angela was begging the priest to hold a Catholic funeral for her dead sister. But the priest also rejected her, on the grounds that it was against the rules. Suicide is a serious crime in Christianity. People who commit suicide cannot go to heaven after death, let alone a Catholic funeral. Even though Angela kept asking, Father David still rejected her. So Constantine said tactfully, I have noticed something wrong recently. Some abnormal souls have appeared. Maybe you should give me some more time. I can help you here during this time. Are you still accumulating merits to go to heaven? Gabriel sat on the sofa and smiled elegantly. Constantine said indignantly, do you know how many demons I have sent back to hell? Can't I go to heaven with these? Even if not, at least I can live 2 more years. Gabriel was still elegant, and had an expression of caring for mentally retarded children. She shook her head and said, how many times have I told you that, if you really want to go to heaven, you must sacrifice yourself, and believe in God wholeheartedly. Oh my God, I do have faith. Don't lie, John, you can't even fool yourself. I never wanted to see those. This is a curse. It's a talent, John, and you wasted it for selfish purposes. Who did I exorcise the little girl for? For yourself, John. Everything you did was just for yourself. To accumulate virtue and regain his favor. Impossible rules, endless regulations. Who can go to heaven and who goes to hell has various reasons. You don't understand us at all. You are the one who should go to hell, you bastard. Ha, refreshing. Constantine felt particularly refreshed when he looked at himself on the screen and called Gabriel a bastard. Looking at the pairs of eyes around him who were eager to learn, Constantine could only say, okay, let's ask them one by one. Why doesn't Gabriel let you go to heaven? You have saved so many people. Peter Parker asked puzzledly, Mr. Constantine, you are a hero. Because he is right. Constantine smoked another cigarette. Smoking here does not worry about the smell of smoke affecting others. It is a very considerate feature. I'm doing this for myself. Because of the special nature of this place, coupled with the torture of lung cancer and the rules of those damn guys, Constantine also has a little intention of giving up on himself. I have offended all the demons in hell, all of them. Constantine said, even if not all of them, then it's probably 99%. Anyway, after I die, those people who hate me to death will definitely not let me have a good time. If I don't go to heaven, I will only end up being tortured for eternity. While watching Constantine, I was still thinking, why not watch another The Chronicles of Narnia in which the White Queen is played by the Ancient One. Chapter 154 Extremely Uncomfortable Beelzebub. Those guys actually didn't care much about what we did. Constantine said sarcastically, they don't care about demons, and they don't care about humans either. In other words, it doesn't matter how many demons I have defeated. Then why do they? Do you think humans or demons are more important to them? Constantine asked back. It must be human. No. Could it be a demon? No. What is it? Humans are not important to them, and demons are not important to them either, but their belief in humans is very important. Constantine said loudly, they don't care about the life and death of humans at all, just like human slave owners don't care about the feelings of slaves. But if humans don't believe in heaven, it's like the slaves under the slave owners rebelling, then this is absolutely unacceptable to the slave owners. And suicide is also easy to explain. For slave owners, slaves are his wealth. Do you think slave owners can tolerate slaves dying on their own? Then what did you do? Bruce Wayne asked. There are many doctrines in Christianity. Which one did you violate? If you don't want to say it, this question can be avoided. Suicide. Constantine said while smoking a cigarette. I was born with a pair of psychic eyes. I can see things that ordinary people can't see at all, so I was regarded as a monster by others. I was very young at that time. I couldn't accept it, so I just committed suicide, but I didn't die. The price is that it was recorded by those guys and became the reason for blocking my visa to heaven. Constantine looked at Strange with a serious face and said, okay, it's your turn, my colleague. Listen to me, you can't smoke anymore. Strange finally couldn't help, but took the cigarette out of Constantine's mouth. You have lung cancer, understand? Strange said, you have lung cancer, and you still smoke. Are you afraid that you will die slowly, and hell will not give you a visa? It's okay. Constantine waved his hand nonchalantly and said, look, didn't the screening room just update the rules to protect us from abnormal harm? In this case, won't the damage to my lungs caused by my smoking be blocked? It's true. The cigarettes smoked by Mr. Constantine before were blocked, and we couldn't breathe his second-hand smoke at all. Oh, that's right. Constantine took the cigarette back, put it in his mouth, and continued to smoke while saying, even if it's not blocked, it doesn't matter. I've smoked so much that I have advanced lung cancer. These 2 cigarettes don't matter. Image continues. Why me, Gabriel? Constantine sat down on the sofa and said, did I pray less, or go to church less, or donate $5 less for incense? Why? You will die young, because you smoke 30 cigarettes a day, since you were 15. Because of your lifestyle, you are destined to go to hell. You are hopeless. Listening to Gabriel's most desperate words in the most gentle tone, he was stunned and dazed. On the other side, after the policewoman Angela failed to request a Catholic funeral for her sister, she could only return home and keep looking through the surveillance video before her sister committed suicide. Slowly, she found something wrong. Before her sister died, she seemed to be calling a name. After restoring her lips, Angela finally knew what her sister was saying. That was a person's name, Constantine. When she found this, all the communication devices in the house began to ring, including landlines, mobile phones, and emails. But when Angela connected them, there was nothing, as if the sound just now was an auditory hallucination. And Constantine was walking alone in the rain on the street. Even so, he still smoked a cigarette. Finally, he knelt down on the ground alone in great pain, coughing continuously. With advanced lung cancer and being caught in the rain, if it were an ordinary person, he would have died on the spot. Fortunately, Constantine is an exorcist after all, and even if he is a successful person, he will not be killed by the rain, but the things that come with him are eyeing him covetously. A beetle that looks like a crab crawled onto Constantine's hand, and the next second, someone said to Constantine, "Hey, brother, lend me a light." Constantine's mind was a little unclear due to the rain, so he took out his limited edition lighter and handed it over, but at this moment, the other party hit him out. The other party turned out to be a thing made up of a bunch of flies. I had a claustrophobia attack when I saw this. It was so fucking disgusting. Not only flies, but also centipedes crawled on Constantine's hand. Fuck. What the hell? So disgusting. Looking at the body made up of a bunch of bugs, Peter was so disgusted that he almost vomited the overpass meal. That's Beelzebub. Constantine said calmly, do you need me to introduce this disgusting guy? If I remember correctly, Beelzebub's status is not low in various myths. He is called the Prime Minister of Hell. Some versions call him the King of Hell, also known as the King of Flies, and is a devil who drives diseases. Bruce Wayne said, compared to Beelzebub's orthodoxy, Satan is more like an opposition party. Beelzebub is portrayed as a thoughtful and majestic sage in Paradise Lost, second only to Lucifer among the fallen. In the 7 deadly sins, Beelzebub is the embodiment of gluttony. King of Hell. Thoughtful and majestic. Looking at the aggregated fly monster on the screen, they were completely unable to associate the word majestic with the fly monster. Human myths are all made up by humans after all, and this is normal. Let's not talk about the strength of that guy, but he is definitely the most disgusting, and can make people feel physically uncomfortable. I took a screenshot of Beelzebub. You can take a look. I suggest you don't look at it while eating. But it's quite blurry. It shouldn't be a big problem. Constantine broke free from Beelzebub's restraints and ran to the road. Beelzebub followed closely behind and then was hit by a car and his body was smashed. Snakes, flies, spiders, crabs all ran around on the road. Constantine kicked a crab away and then quickly rushed to Midnight Dad's territory. Right square bracket. Chapter 155. Master of the Minefield. Midnight Daddy is a legendary figure. In his territory, even angels and demons must abide by the rules. That is, they are not allowed to take action and must remain absolutely neutral. When meeting Midnight Daddy, Constantine explained the current situation to him. First, a demon soldier possessed a girl and wanted to disembowel her. Then a real big demon came to the world. Finally, Constantine bluntly asked to borrow his magical chair. This is a chair with strange magic. As long as you sit on it, you can gain infinite knowledge. When Midnight Dad heard that Constantine wanted to borrow the chair, he directly refused Constantine and said, John, even if you forget that the chair is enough to kill you, I must remind you that I'm absolutely neutral. As long as the balance is not broken, I will not favor any side. Before you opened this bar, you were a witch doctor who fought against 30 big demons on your own. And you are Constantine, the famous Constantine, that was also in the past. This time the situation is unusual. I can feel something approaching. Wow, that's really scary. A young man in a suit suddenly came behind the two of them. Balthazar, just what you said just now can make me happy all night. Balthazar said, I'm going to beat you back to hell, you bastard. Constantine was extremely angry and even planned to take out something to fight. This action caused the extreme dissatisfaction of Midnight Father. If you want to fight, go outside and fight. You know the rules here. John, I heard that you don't have much time left. Balthazar put his face close to Constantine and said, I'm so happy. After you die, we can talk slowly in hell. Does this Balthazar have a grudge against you? I have a lot of enemies. Constantine said nonchalantly. Balthazar just has a bigger grudge against me. The video continues. Constantine, who was defeated by Midnight Father, could only return to his shabby apartment, smoking and drinking. Yes, he is still smoking. Constantine covered a spider with a glass and blew a puff of smoke into the glass. Let you feel my life too. Just at this moment, there was a knock on the door. Constantine opened the door and suddenly found that it was Angela standing outside. Mr. Constantine. Angela was about to say something, but Constantine finished it, as if he had predicted it. If I may, I would like to ask you a question. I do not feel like talking. After saying that, Constantine was about to close the door, but Angela quickly stopped the door and said, then just listen, please. As she spoke, she also took out her police badge. I knew it was not that simple. Constantine finally let Angela in. My sister was murdered yesterday. My condolences. Constantine had another cigarette in his mouth. Thank you. She is a mental patient. She jumped off the building in the mental hospital. But you said she was murdered. That's right. Isabella would not commit suicide. Hearing Angela's words, Constantine began to perform the minefield dance on the spot. Yeah, how could a mentally ill person commit suicide? That's crazy. Angela suppressed her emotions and continued calmly. I've heard of your name in this area, and I know the fields you're involved in. Mysticism, demonology, exorcism. My sister suffered from severe delusions before she was hospitalized and began to talk about demons and angels. I think she was bewitched by someone. Mr. Constantine. Angela looked at Constantine and said, someone sucked her brain and drove her to jump off the building. It might be some kind of group or cult. That sounds reasonable, detective. Constantine said calmly, good luck to you. I thought that with your background, you could at least point me in the right direction. Of course, no problem. Just when Angela thought Constantine wanted to provide some information, Constantine's hand holding the wine glass pointed straight to the door. The meaning of this action was self-evident. You are too mean. Tony said, such a beautiful woman asked you for help, but you were not moved at all. I don't think a dying man would be interested in women. Constantine smoked heavily. He found that smoking here really didn't hurt his lungs at all, and all kinds of high quality cigarettes were free, so he started to smoke more. Then you have to help. Peter said, if you were an ordinary person, of course you wouldn't put yourself in danger, but you have the power to repel a big demon like Beelzebub. Even if I have the power to defeat that old bastard god, so what? Constantine said nonchalantly, I'm not a good person. Saving the world is what a hero should do. I'm just an exorcist who has no money and suffers from lung cancer. Hikaru stopped Peter, who was about to say something, and said to him, Peter, morality is used to restrain yourself, not to restrain others. You can set a flawless moral standard for yourself, but you can't use it to force others to abide by it. Everyone has their own moral bottom line in their hearts. When they do immoral things, we can correct them, stop them, and let them change their immoral aspects, but forcing others to act according to their own moral standards is the most immoral thing. Image continues, my sister didn't commit suicide. She was a devout Catholic. Angela couldn't help but say, do you know what that means? It means that, if she committed suicide, her soul will go straight to hell. Constantine ruthlessly interrupted Angela's words and said, she will be torn into pieces there, struggling endlessly and screaming in pain, and will never be reborn, right? Isabella's fate described by Constantine is also his own fate. Am I right? You deserve to die. Angela released the spider that was trapped in the quilt before, turned around and left. Constantine, who had finished jumping in the minefield, took a sip of wine and turned to look out the window. Outside the window, a black shadow flashed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Toner's Creative Ideas. Seeing the dark shadow outside the window, Constantine instantly realized that the other party was heading towards Angela. Constantine rushed out in one step, caught up with Angela and said, Detective, if I tell you that God and the devil made a bet, and the bet is the souls of all human beings in the world, what would you think? I would say you should take medicine. Listen to me first. Even if the rules cannot directly contact humans, they can only influence them to see who can win. Okay, I believe it. Why? Who knows? Maybe it's for fun. No one knows. It turned out to be for fun. Angela sneered at Constantine's words. Husband beats his wife to death. Mother drowns her son, and you actually say that this kind of crime is the temptation of the devil. Human nature is evil. Mr. Constantine, this is human nature. You are right, but sometimes the appearance of some other things will just seduce us. What you said is very educational, but I don't believe in the existence of the devil. Just then, the street lights on the road began to go out one by one. Obviously, something is coming. Power outage? Angela, who didn't believe in ghosts and gods, looked at the extinguished streetlights and put forward a very reasonable explanation. Not really. What's that sound? Angela couldn't help asking after hearing the strange sounds ringing in her ears. Wings, or maybe claws. What, are you kidding? Claws of what? Constantine pulled out a piece of linen and wrapped it around his hands while saying something that shouldn't exist. A series of black shadows whizzed by, and Angela subconsciously took out a gun to defend herself. Looking at the small pistol in Angela's hand, Constantine complained, "Guns are useless at this time. Close your eyes." Constantine took out a lighter and said to Angela, who was in a panic, "Close your eyes." Why? Forget it. Constantine was too lazy to explain to her. Anyway, she would have no choice but to believe it later. In front of the statue of the Virgin Mary, Constantine lit the piece of torn linen in his hand. The next second, when the linen was burning, a dazzling light that seemed to be comparable to the sunlight burst out instantly, illuminating the surroundings, and under the strong light, countless demons from hell appeared. These demons looked extremely hideous, and they all had skeletons similar to wings on their backs. Although these demons looked terrifying, under the light emitted by the linen in Constantine's hand, all of them let out miserable howls, and their bodies gradually melted in the light of the sacred flame, and finally turned into ashes. Where are the demons in hell as promised? Constantine clapped his hands with a mocking look on his face, and put away the remaining linen. Looking at Angela, who kept coughing behind him, Constantine calmly took a puff of cigarette and said, "Don't worry, it's always like this for the first time. It's just the sulfur smell on the demons." Sulfur? Angela looked at the man in front of her who destroyed a large group of demons with a flick of her finger, her face full of disbelief. Just a few minutes ago, she was still a staunch materialist who believed that demons were fake and the man in front of her was just a psychopath. But in just these few minutes, the worldview she had built up over the years collapsed completely. How did you do it? Strange looked at Constantine on the screen, who killed a group of demons in one move, and asked curiously, "Is that linen a magic weapon?" "It would not be difficult for me to deal with this group of demons, but this is the first time I have seen your way." "This?" Constantine took out a piece of linen from his pocket and said, "This is the holy cloth, which is the cloth used to wrap Catholic saints for burial. Because this cloth is stained with the blood of saints, once it burns, it will release extremely strong sacred flames. The power of this flame is very strong. Even the light emitted can cause fatal damage to low-level demons. So, this is a way to destroy demons, not magic, right?" "That's right." Peter asked puzzledly, "Is there any difference between the two?" "The difference is quite big." Strange thought for a while and said, "It's like the difference between a precision instrument that needs professionals to operate, and a foolproof machine that can be operated by any ordinary person with normal intelligence. Although it is quite immoral to take someone else's shroud, it is indeed a very effective way to exorcise demons. If conditions permit, you can also find some holy shrouds in your own world to guard against demons." "Oh my god. Forget it. Wolverine, I can't use someone else's shroud as a weapon." "Wanda, that's disgusting." "I have chaos magic." "Captain America, wait, where did you get the holy shroud?" Exclamation mark. "Mr. Constantine, you are not going to rob a tomb, are you? So there is no more civilized way." "Well, holy water is also okay, and salt silver weapons can also hurt some demons, such as vampires." Constantine said, "I have a friend who uses holy water to make shotgun bullets. This holy water bullet may not be very useful for hitting high-level demons, but it can kill a large number of low-level demons like inferior demons with one shot." "Are all magicians so avant-garde now?" Tony said, "Since shotguns are already used, why do we need more powerful weapons? For example, replace the shotgun with a light machine gun, or simply replace it with a rocket launcher. And since holy water bullets are out, why don't you consider holy water grenades, ultraviolet bombs, and other weapons with more powerful firepower?" Tony became more and more excited. Why didn't he think of combining magic and technology before? Are magic and technology necessarily opposites? Why can't they be combined to achieve the effect of 1 + 1 being greater than 2? He has already made up his mind that after this live broadcast, he will go to Kamatage to learn from others and see if he can make some kind of supreme sorcerer suit. Actually, I have another idea. Tony said, the strongest point of modern industrialization is assembly line production, which makes modern productivity far exceed that of ancient times. So I thought about it. Can we mass produce magic tools? Magic tool assembly line? You are really a genius. I'm going to get the third shot of the vaccine. Have you guys finished your vaccinations? Chapter 157 Holy Water Transmitter. Assembly line production? Hikari held up his chin and said, it would be great if some of my props could also be produced on an assembly line. In this way, after equipping the Ultra Warriors with insufficient strength, it would also reduce the number of casualties. What exactly is the production model of your Kingdom of Light? Tony asked puzzledly. Logically speaking, the technology of the Kingdom of Light is so advanced that they shouldn't be able to build a production line. We, the Light Clan, only need to absorb light to survive, and the plasma spark tower continuously releases an extremely dazzling light. In other words, my people in the Kingdom of Light don't have to worry about starving to death, even if they do nothing and sleep all day. Hikari said distressedly, in the Kingdom of Light, survival is definitely not a problem, so everyone generally does what they like to do, and we never force others. The vast majority of young people aim to join the Space Guard and protect the peace of the universe, or join the 7 Nebula branches. There are too few people willing to join the Science and Technology Research Bureau. Even the guards at our door are just the researchers who take on the job when they go out for a walk. The Kingdom of Light also has currency and goods, but that is only set up to make people work hard. Even if you don't have money, you can just tell the administrator if you want a certain product. Hikaru said, I remember thousands of years ago there was a child who wanted to buy a musical instrument for the girl he liked. Because he had no money, he worked everywhere. I paid for him. But the two children still couldn't get together. In this context, there is no need for assembly line production, because people's demand for these goods is not that great. Bruce Wayne concluded, I always thought that this kind of true utopian country only exists in human imagination. Hikaru waved his hands helplessly and said, the atmosphere in the Kingdom of Light is very relaxed, because everyone is very conscious, and there haven't been any crimes for many years. People can do what they like. I have always wanted to resign and go out, but I have not been able to leave, because I have never found a successor to take over my position as the director of the Science and Technology Research Bureau. My former disciple, Tarikia, has recently fallen in love with the Buddhist scriptures that Ace brought back. Now he spends every day in the library studying Buddhist scriptures, which makes it impossible for me to get away. I can't just abandon my work at the Science and Technology Research Bureau and leave. That would be too irresponsible. What about your laws? Bruce Wayne said, isn't it a bit irresponsible to rely entirely on personal moral constraints? The Kingdom of Light certainly has a complete legal system, but it's been many years since I broke the law, so the law seems to be non-existent. Hikari leaned back on the sofa and said, I really want someone to take over my job. The video continues. What the hell is that? Didn't you see it? Demons. You said those monsters are demons? Impossible. Believe it or not. Constantine was too lazy to argue with him. He was in the late stage of lung cancer and was in no mood to argue with others over such trivial matters. Constantine, who was in the late stage of lung cancer, said while smoking a cigarette, I don't think these demons are coming for me. You really don't think she's going to commit suicide, right? Isabella definitely won't. Then let's confirm it. Angela's apartment. Angela took a basin of water and brought it to Constantine, and next to them, there was a black cat named Duckling circling around. Constantine did not take out a bunch of magic tools and start to dance or draw an extremely complicated magic circle as Angela expected. He just picked up the black cat and stepped into the basin of water. Cats are good animals. They wander between the heaven and earth and can walk in the human world. By the way, do you really not need to make a 5-pointed star with candles? Angela, please step aside for a moment, please. Okay. Angela was driven out of her home with an unhappy look on her face. Then, Constantine picked up the black cat, and the basin under his feet kept churning out bubbles, and the lights around him kept flickering. When Angela completely closed the door, Constantine was already in hell. Are you going down now? Strange looked surprised. If it were me, I would at least draw a portal. 1. It's so easy to break the barrier between hell and the human world, travel between the two realms, and enter hell in the flesh. Even with the help of the Black Cat's power, it's not something that ordinary people can do easily. Constantine, there's nothing to hide about my situation. I was born with a special physique, which is the talent that Gabriel, the bastard, said. Because of my natural inspirational physique, I have encountered countless supernatural events since I was a child. I also dealt with demons when I was very young. Over time, it became easier and easier for me to enter hell. 1. You have to pay attention. This is not a good situation. Constantine, it's okay. I'm dying soon. What am I afraid of? Ultraman Ace, even if your life is about to end, you can't give up hope. You know, you are not alone. There is the entire screening room behind you. Constantine was stunned and almost lost the cigarette in his mouth. The image continues the moment Angela closed the door. The environment around Constantine had changed dramatically. There are ruins, flames and magma everywhere, and the smell of sulfur is everywhere. This is hell. Although Constantine didn't want to enter hell after death, as long as he was alive, entering hell was no more difficult than going home. Constantine found his way forward without any confusion, as if this was not the first time he had done it. It wasn't long before Constantine met Angela's twin sister, Isabella. The environment in hell is not very good. There are ruins everywhere, storms are constantly hanging, and the wind is full of the smell of sulfur. Constantine held a water bowl in his hand, and he didn't know what it was for. After walking for a long time, he finally saw his target, Isabella, who looked exactly like Angela. Isabella. Constantine. The two looked at each other. Isabella untied the bracelet on her hand, turned around and jumped into the deeper hell. Constantine wanted to catch her, but he could only get her bracelet. At this moment, demons from all directions rushed towards Constantine. Constantine's popularity in hell is not very good. One of the demons had half of its head cut off. It had been staying in a scrapped car before. It seemed that it died in a car accident. Constantine smashed the water bowl on his body. When he got the bracelet, it turned out that it was filled with holy water. In an instant, the holy water covering his whole body brought Constantine back to the world. He stayed in hell for a long time, but only a moment passed in the world. Angela had just closed the door when she heard Constantine calling her name again. To be honest, I didn't feel anything about Beelzebub before, but the demon with only half a head left really disgusted me. Chapter 158. Oh my god. Angela opened the door and saw Constantine with white smoke all over his body and coughing continuously. You are twins. Oh my god, what are you talking about? Constantine coughed and handed the bracelet to Angela. She committed suicide, so she was sentenced to hell. Angela of course recognized the bracelet. It was her sister's bracelet, and Isabella's name was printed on it. Angela believed Constantine's words, but she still didn't understand why her sister committed suicide. How is this possible? Constantine didn't answer Angela, but said, I want to eat. On the other side, Constantine's priest friend came to a morgue. The priest found Isabella's body in the morgue. He held Isabella's wrist tightly, his eyes rolled back, and tried to read some information. The next second, a dark mark appeared on Isabella's wrist. The priest fell directly to the ground. His clairvoyant state had very magical powers, but once he was targeted by the devil, there was a great possibility that he would bring disaster upon himself. The priest wanted to exit the clairvoyant state in only one way, that is, to drink, but when he took out the wine glass in his arms and wanted to drink, he found that he couldn't drink it at all. The priest ran out in panic, picked up the wine from the store outside, and poured it into his mouth, but a scene that violated the laws of physics appeared, that is, the wine could not be poured out directly. The priest was anxious and smashed the bottle directly, but the wine just couldn't be poured out. And outside the store, a man in a suit walked over. It was Balthazar. At this moment, Father David has fallen to the ground and is twitching constantly. He has entered the same situation as Isabella before her death, that is, drowning. Yes, drowning on land. No. Seeing Father David die, the calm Constantine is no longer calm. Father David is one of his few friends. Although he is not good at selling out his teammates, he sold them out himself. How can selling out yourself and being killed by the enemy be the same? Balthazar. The video continues. Because he went to hell, Constantine, who was very hungry, pulled Angela out to eat. While eating, he told Angela his story. Since I was a child, I can see things that humans cannot see, should not see, and do not need to see. Constantine said, my parents are normal people, so they did what most parents would do. Adding fuel to the fire, they sent me to a mental hospital and let me receive electric shock therapy. When a person is tortured to the point of being unable to bear it, he will seek relief. You want to commit suicide? I didn't try anything. I always feel that the translation of this paragraph is not right. Is there any big guy who can give a more appropriate translation? Strictly speaking, I died for 2 minutes. But when you cross that line, time stops. Believe me, 2 minutes in hell is as long as a lifetime. Constantine said calmly, when I came back from hell, I knew that everything I saw was real. Heaven and hell are around us. Angels and demons cannot appear directly, but they can give you courage with a word, or turn your favorite thing into your worst nightmare. Those with demonic powers, like those half-angels, live around us. They call it balance. But I call it hypocritical bullshit. So if any half-bloods break the rules, I will kick them back to hell. Although there will be some that slip through the net, I want to get rid of as many as possible, so that I can retire early. I don't understand what you mean. I'm a suicide, Angela. According to the rules, there is only one place I can go after I die. Angela understood immediately. You want to increase your chances of going to heaven by atonement. If you were put in a prison and half of the prosperity inside was imprisoned by you, what would you do? Constantine said, I have no choice. Angela told Constantine that Isabella could also see all kinds of weird things when she was a child, so people also thought she was a mental patient and sent her to the hospital. Just then, a phone call came. The guard found him groping the body, then ran to the convenience store across the street, drank all the alcohol in the store, and then died of alcohol poisoning. This is the preliminary autopsy report of Father David. Constantine followed in. He squatted beside David and took out the amulet. Why didn't you call me, asshole? Constantine's hands were shaking. He knew his friend was murdered. Suddenly, he saw the marks on David's hands. That was a clue David left desperately before he died. He asked a scholar friend to investigate the symbol, but what Constantine didn't know was that he indirectly killed this scholar friend. After the call, Constantine was going to see the scene of Isabella's death. The two continued to chat about Isabella on the way. At the same time, Constantine said that Isabella must have left some clues for Angela, because they were twins, and twins are always the same. Relying on a set of forced psychic methods, they finally found an important clue on the glass of Isabella's ward, which is 1 Corinthians chapter 17. John, there is no chapter 17 in 1 Corinthians. But in the Hell Bible, there are a total of 21 chapters in 1 Corinthians. Yes, the Hell Bible. In addition to the human version of the Bible, there is another set of Bibles, that is the Hell Bible. In this Hell Bible, the world is not destroyed by God in the end, but is occupied by demons, and turned into a purgatory on earth. On the other side, Constantine's scholar friend was flipping through the Hell Bible. He found this sentence in chapter 17 of 1 Corinthians in the Hell Bible. The sin of the Father is only surpassed by the sin of the Son. Whose son? The Son of God. No, it's another one. Satan also has a son, but it is impossible for him to cross the barrier and come to the world. The scholar told Constantine over the phone that the mark on David's hand was that of Mammon, the son of Satan. According to the records in chapter 17, Mammon was extremely dissatisfied with the bet and rules set by his father Satan and God, so he wanted to come to the world and establish his own kingdom of blood and fire here. Among the many demons, Mammon is definitely the demon we least want to come, but if he wants to come to the world, he must possess a powerful psychic, Isabella. Angela immediately realized that her sister might have become Mammon's sacrifice. No, but that's not enough. To pass through the barrier, Mammon needs the help of the gods. I saw the fried egg sandwich they were eating. I was hungry too, so I opened my phone to order it and saw the price at KFC. A damn hamburger costs $20. Why don't you just go grab it? This is outrageous. Brothers, $20 is enough for me to have a meal of braised pork ribs, and they even give me rice. Chapter 159 Physical Exorcism Fist. That is to say, Mammon must have the power of God to cross the barrier. The power of God. But how can God help the devil? And help the devil break the rules? Just then, the scholar felt an enemy approaching. Listen, John. I know you have never had any faith, but that doesn't mean we don't believe it. The phone was silent here, and Constantine immediately knew that his friend was in danger. When they got there, the scholar was already dead, with bugs all over his body. Don't eat the sour radish. Constantine watched another good friend of his die, and finally couldn't control his anger. That was his friend. Although he betrayed his teammates, this was not a friend he could watch die in front of him without changing his expression. Even if it was in another universe, it wouldn't work. At this moment, Constantine was already planning how to send that bastard back to hell. Calm down. You need a calm mind if you want revenge. I know. Constantine took a puff of cigarette and said, they are all devout believers. I don't see how that old God blesses them. Instead, he lets them die from the things they love most. Is this God's love for the world? Constantine said sarcastically. Oh, by the way, I'm about to die from cigarettes. But you really can't smoke anymore. You will really smoke yourself to death. The video continues. Constantine was very painful and full of anger because of his friend's death. At this time, Angela told Constantine that she was also a psychic before and was more powerful than Isabella, but she rejected her ability and Isabella chose to accept it. So she is still alive and Isabella is dead. Angela now wants to regain her ability and then find out the truth about Isabella's suicide. At Angela's plea, Constantine finally warned her, once you start, there is no turning back. Your power is stronger than Isabella's. You rejected the power, so they won't find you, but once you accept this power again, they will find you again. And it is very likely that you will never be able to stop. When you stare into the abyss is also staring at you. But at Angela's insistence, Constantine still held an awakening ceremony for her. Although the process was a bit bumpy and almost killed someone, Angela successfully awakened. Oh my god, does it have to be like this? Peter looked at the screen where Constantine desperately pressed Angela into the water and suddenly felt creepy. This is the simplest and most effective method. Constantine said, her situation is quite special. She originally had psychic powers, but she chose to seal herself. So to awaken her abilities, we just need to let her feel the feeling of dying and see hell for herself. And water is the medium that connects to hell. So pressing her in the water is definitely the most effective solution. By the way, are there many psychics like this? Bruce Wayne suddenly said. Is there any way to detect them? It's hard to say. We are not in the same world. You said before that even Satan and God, that old bastard, don't exist in your world. I don't know whether psychics exist or not. The video continues. Angela keeps struggling in the water. This is her survival instinct, but Constantine continues to hold Angela down without any emotion. No matter how she struggles, she can't get rid of Constantine's ruthless iron hand. If you want quick success, you have to pay a little more price. Finally, a powerful force burst out from Angela, not only breaking free from Constantine's ruthless iron hand and knocking Constantine away, but also blowing up the bathtub. At this moment, Angela understood everything. Angela's face was suddenly enlightened. She finally knew why her ability to investigate cases was so strong over the years. In addition to her own qualities, she could always see those ghosts unintentionally. Why was she able to find out the truth quickly? Because the ghosts who were killed were guiding her, so that she knew from the beginning that she should investigate in that direction. When shooting, she could also know where to shoot and where to hide, as if she had foreseen it. I always knew where they were. Always knew. Suddenly, Angela said, someone has been here. Angela slapped the ground with her hand, got up in an instant and rushed out. She ran to the place where Constantine's scholar friend was killed and found a coin. Constantine immediately recognized whose things it was. Balthazar. Constantine dug out a bunch of equipment from here, including holy water shotguns and demon-breaking brass knuckles, and rushed into Balthazar's lair with his weapons. That bastard killed my friend, and I killed him just to restore the balance. A sneak attack of holy fire knocked Balthazar, who was looking in the mirror, away. Constantine asked with his weapon in hand, "How did Mammon get through the barrier, you bastard?" As he spoke, he smashed a bottle of holy water on Balthazar's face. Holy water is as powerful as nitric acid and humans to demons, but Balthazar, a powerful demon, is more resistant to holy water. Relying on the power of the cross knuckles, Constantine used a physical exorcism fist to beat Balthazar to a pulp. Balthazar was not panicked at all. After all, he was a demon, and returning to hell after death was equivalent to returning to the fountain to read the bar. But how could Constantine not think of this trick? So after he subdued Balthazar, instead of shooting him, he took out a Bible and prepared to read him a last prayer and send Balthazar to heaven. You have this ability? Looking at the magical operation on the screen, where the devil was about to be sent to heaven with a Bible, everyone said that they had learned some strange knowledge. Anyone can be saved, as long as they are innocent, and can recite the correct spell. Constantine said, "It's just that guy can't go up." I was lying to him. Why? Because the forgiven must first take the initiative to forgive. In other words, if you want to send Balthazar to heaven, Balthazar himself must be willing to do so. Constantine said, "If I could just send those guys up there casually, it would be less troublesome for me to deal with the devil in the future. When I meet a devil, I can just send them to heaven and let the angels deal with them." I set Constantine as an independent world, and Bruce Wayne as the world of the Justice League. Chapter 160. First experience with the Thunder King. Seeing that Constantine was going to send him to heaven, Balthazar finally panicked. Heaven is the base camp of angels. If he, a demon, was sent there, he would either be shredded by the holy light, or chopped into 8 pieces by the flaming swords of the angels. Balthazar began to beg for mercy. He panicked. He revealed the most important secret of Mammon's plan. The blood of God. The weapon that killed the Son of God will give the Son of Demon a new life. How could Constantine not understand after hearing this? Mammon needs the power of God to pass through the barrier, not God's permission. God would never allow it, but this does not prevent Mammon from getting God's power from other places. Obviously, the gun that stabbed the Son of God Jesus to death, the Spear of Longinus, still has the blood of Jesus. In the world, nothing is more in line with the standard of God's power than the blood of Jesus. After getting the information he wanted, Constantine stuffed the Bible into his windbreaker and said, "By the way, you must ask for pardon to be forgiven. Killing is better than destroying the heart." Actually, you shouldn't have told him. Bruce said on the side, "If you don't tell him, you can use this method to deceive him next time." My goal has been achieved. Hearing that he was deceived, Balthazar did not become furious as Constantine expected, but laughed instead. "My target is this woman, and you brought her to me." Constantine suddenly felt something was wrong. He raised his hand and shot Balthazar, then quickly left with Angela. "Did you sense anything?" Hearing Angela's question, Constantine said, "Jesus was not nailed to the cross, but was stabbed to death by a soldier with a spear. The spear of destiny, or the spear of Longinus. I'm a Catholic. I know the story of Jesus' suffering." On the other side, Balthazar, who was blown to pieces, did not die, but met a mysterious man. "She has awakened her power, and I have brought her here as agreed. If you grant me resurrection, I will be loyal to you." Balthazar's body began to shake. "Wait, I have fulfilled our agreement." Balthazar's body turned into ash faster. "Wait, no, please. Who is this?" Looking at the black-clad man on the screen who effortlessly solved the low-health Balthazar, Tony asked curiously, "And in mythology, once the devils sign a contract, don't they have to execute it?" "It's a contract, not an agreement." Constantine said disdainfully. "Balthazar, this mixed blood bastard, obviously has a bad brain. Even if it is a contract written in black and white, the devil will find a way to trip it up. How dare you believe in a verbal agreement?" While waiting for the elevator, Constantine said, "Mammon needs 2 things to come to the world. One is the power of God, that is, the bloodstain on the spear of Longinus, and the other is a powerful psychic. Constantine looked at Angela and said, "That is you." Suddenly he realized something was wrong. "Where is the amulet I gave you? I think I left it in the car." The next second, Angela suddenly felt that there was not much strength there. Suddenly, a mysterious force directly broke through the wall and took Angela away. Constantine chased all the way, but still didn't catch up. Fuck. Wolverine, what's going on? Is it the telekinetic magic of Ebony Maw? Wanda, Uncle Wolf, you're out of tune. Wolverine, that Ebony Maw is so ugly, no different from a demon. Captain America, could it be that the demon has taken action? Bruce Wayne, no. Bruce Wayne, I just heard a slight sound of wings flapping. Constantine, wings, could it be an angel? Exclamation mark. Peter Parker, could it be that the angel wants to stop the demon from coming and then take Angela away to protect her? Magneto, impossible. If you want to protect her, wouldn't it be better to do it openly? There's no need to use such means to forcibly abduct people. Constantine, that's right. Although my relationship with the angels is average, I still have some status in heaven. Although they rarely call me for meetings, they will definitely notify me if there is a large-scale event. It is absolutely impossible for them to abduct people without saying a word. Wanda, then you have such a status. How come you can't even go to heaven? Constantine, one thing is one thing, those bastards just want me to work for nothing. Strange, no. Strange, no. Strange, I won't remember it wrong. There is an illustration on the Hell Bible. Strange, the illustration shows an angel holding a gun and stabbing a demon. Strange, at first I thought it was an angel defeating a demon and didn't think much about it, but now I think it should be a prophecy that the demon will need the help of angels when it comes to the world. Magneto, angels help demons come to the world. This is really fucked up. Strange, it's not wrong. I may understand it wrong, but I definitely can't remember it wrong. Strange, combined with the wing sounds before, I think this should be a huge conspiracy. Strange, although it's fucked up, after eliminating all possibilities, the last remaining answer, no matter how outrageous, is the correct answer. Constantine, it's a troubled time. The video continues after Angela was abducted. Constantine chose to come to Midnight Father's territory to seek help. Constantine broke in alone and knocked down the guard with one punch. Constantine held the holy fire gun and shot the door with one shot and pointed the gun directly at the confused Midnight Father. Midnight Father was dumbfounded. Is this guy completely crazy? Have you lost even the last bit of your sanity? Seeing that Midnight Father was about to take action, Constantine said straight to the point, I want to use that chair. I won't help either side. Maintain balance. Fuck balance. Constantine said disdainfully. The next second, Midnight Father's hands sent out a shockwave that sent Constantine flying against the wall, and a pair of hands grabbed Constantine's waist like a hot iron. You are the only one who still follows the rules, Midnight. When you were learning to be neutral like Switzerland, people kept sacrificing. Handacy, Beeman, they are also your friends. Remember? Midnight Father was unmoved, and Constantine saw that the hard way didn't work, so he had to use the soft way. Just consider it my last plea. Seeing that the other party was playing the emotional card, Midnight Father finally let go. That little bastard is attacking the barrier. He has always been dissatisfied with his father. It is not difficult to imagine what he would do to this world if he came to this world. Constantine finally sat on the magical chair, which had taken 200 lives. This torture chair that killed hundreds of people is entangled with a large number of wronged souls and grievances. It can communicate with spirits and has powerful power, but if it is not operated properly, it will die. Midnight Dad poured a bottle of wine on the ground and let Constantine step on it. Then, he actually took out a wick that was connected to the power supply. Have you thought about it? Not yet. The next second, Midnight Dad directly pressed the wick on the alcohol on the ground. I want to write good omens to improve my perception of angels and demons. Chapter 161. I can't even think of a chapter title. In a twitch, the man who had taken a fancy to him saw the man holding the spear of Longinus. He was rushing towards the hospital. At this moment, the other party actually strangled Constantine, who was in a trance state. Midnight. After calling Midnight, Father Midnight grabbed Constantine and pulled him out of the trance state. How is it? I saw it. After learning the situation, Constantine began to prepare. With the help of his young assistant, Constantine prepared a batch of new exorcism weapons. How are you going to get close to her? They will definitely guard her strictly. When the skin of the half-blood demon is touched by holy water, they will become very fragile. Constantine's assistant said, as long as you hold certain holy objects, especially one of the Istalia double cross, even if you are not ordained, you can turn ordinary water, even rain water, into holy water. Sir, you don't happen to have such a thing in your cabinet, the assistant said to himself, but he suddenly felt something was wrong. He turned his head and saw that the two were staring at him. John, I don't mean to offend you, but I think it's not wise for you to save the world alone. Midnight Father smiled and said, take him, John, and deal with him when you come back. Midnight Father also saw that this kid is an angel. If you can come back alive, ask me to get you a membership. It seems that God has not given up on you, Mr. Constantine. Strange said, didn't you see it? Of course I see it. I will deal with him when I get back. Constantine said while smoking. What? What? Peter asked in confusion. The kid next to me is an angel arranged by the old man of God. Constantine said, that kid has no spiritual power, but he can know things that I don't know. Do you think he is an ordinary person? Ah. So, God has not given up on you, and you still have a chance to go to heaven. No chance. I won't believe in that old guy. What I want is not to believe in God, and not to go to hell. The video continues in the hospital. Countless demons possessed by humans gathered here. Constantine prepared his weapons and listened to the angel assistant's chatter. We will defeat them. The cross will be useful, right? Reality is not like novels. In the hospital pool, Angela shot the unlucky guy who had taken the spear of Longinus with a pistol, but the other party walked towards her without feeling anything. On the other side, Constantine and the angel assistant rushed in. What's that sound? The sound of hell. Looking at the horrible environment around him, the angel assistant swallowed and said, I can do it. Of course. Constantine nodded. The angel assistant walked into the hospital's water room with his equipment and threw one of Istalia's double crosses into the water tank. This is one of the two most original crosses in the world, with magical spiritual power. Constantine looked at the other room and said, okay, the last show. Hello. Constantine kicked the door open, holding a shotgun, and said to the group of people inside, my name is John. You have destroyed the balance of the world. Leave immediately, or I will expel you back. All of you. The eyes of the people in this room are all red, which is a sign of the devil. After saying that, Constantine put the lighter on the fire alarm, and the next second, the fire prevention facilities in the room began to activate. Holy water? That's right. Under the power of the double cross of Istria, the water source of the entire hospital has become holy water. And this holy water is absolutely deadly to demons. Exclamation mark. At least it is absolutely deadly to these ordinary half-blood demons. Next Constantine shot one by one and went in directly. When science, magic and some strategies were added, Constantine successfully blew up a group of demons. In another room, Angela has been possessed by Mammon. When Constantine rushed to Angela, Mammon had already possessed Angela. Constantine could not directly shoot Angela with a gun, so he could only think of a way to chant the exorcism spell, trying to exorcise the magic spell or physically exorcise the magic spell to drive Mammon from Angela back to hell. Seeing that Angela had returned to normal, Constantine just breathed a sigh of relief, and the next second Angela's belly suddenly swelled up. And it was not like a normal pregnancy, but something was churning inside. Seeing that things were about to get out of control, Constantine's assistant said that he would not act anymore. I'm the boss. Constantine's apprentice also began to chant the spell, which was more powerful than Constantine's spell, and Mammon was actually slowly suppressed. Good job, kid. Do you know why? Because I'm Kramer Chase, asshole. Chase was knocked away by an invisible force before he could finish his words. Then, Chase didn't even have time to say a few more words, his eyes rolled back and he died. Fuck. Constantine didn't even smoke a cigarette when he saw this. His anger value had accumulated to the point of exploding during this movie viewing. Master Strange, I want to exchange magical knowledge with you and share what we have. Constantine suddenly said to Strange on the side, it's the set you taught Peter, and anything else that can kill demons. I will learn it. Although Constantine had a lot of artifacts on him, his own skills were quite good. He also had a very strong strategy and was proficient in various spells. But he couldn't kill those damn demons. But he knew that the wizard in front of him could. Not only can he drive away the extremely powerful dark demon Dormammu, but he also has an isotope that has eaten demons from other worlds to the point of destroying the world. This kind of magic that is completely different from his own aroused his interest. You have to calm down and let me make it clear first. I really can't eat the magic of demons. That's my isotope. Don't worry, I'm not crazy yet. Constantine said, I've been sober the whole time. You can see it from the video. I just want to prepare an extra means of response. I have to go to class again tomorrow. So annoying. Chapter 162. The Hell card appears. Looking at the dead Chase, Constantine was really angry. He rolled up his sleeves, showed the magic circle printed on his arms, and began to chant, I command you to appear in the light. I command you to appear in the light. What Constantine was about to do was obviously a great burden on his body, but he still forced himself to hold on. I command you to appear in the light ! Quote asterisk 3. At Constantine's call, a creature wearing white clothes and with wings on its back appeared. Gabriel. Seeing that Constantine was going to chant a spell against him, Gabriel said disdainfully, you are really arrogant. Gabriel, as expected, evil will soon rule the world. Are you approving me, John? Looking at Gabriel stepping on Constantine on the screen, Strange and Wong always felt something was wrong. Although they knew very well that it was the Ancient One's isomorph, Gabriel, not the Ancient One, and that angels were asexual. But why did it feel so wrong? Wait a minute, that's Gabriel. I use the spell of judgment appearance. Constantine saw Gabriel's eyelids twitching, so this guy's the real mastermind behind the scenes. No way. Wanda, I thought she would be a good person. Wang, angels or demons, they are just a group of creatures living in different dimensions. Angels must be kind, demons must be evil is just human wishful thinking. Wang, but demons are really not good things. Wang, but how can Constantine deal with an archangel? Peter Parker, yes, Gabriel is one of the archangels, and his strength will not be worse than Thanos. Thanos, I don't think that guy will be my opponent. Fire Demon Holy Lord, that guy is too weak, compared with Lu Dongbin, he is just a scum. Demon Hell. Several demons watched the video, and had some ideas in their minds. Maybe we can learn that Mammon. Zimu suggested, we will definitely lose strength, but compared to strength, escaping is the point. That's right, but that kind of operation still requires someone outside to support us. Xiao Feng said, we absolutely cannot break through hell unilaterally. Now our strength has been weakened to a terrible level. The wisdom of Dicky and Bogang makes me doubt whether they can still work together to cast spells. Or, how about you send me out again? The Holy Lord said shamelessly, I'm now. Holy Lord. Don't even think about it. Several demons roared at the same time. Do you think we are fools? Are you not even as good as Dicky and Bogang? You now have this magical screening room. How do you think we can let you leave our control? Zhu Lan looked at the Holy Lord and said, Holy Lord, don't worry, unless I can leave hell, even if the 6 of them lose their minds together and want to send you out, I will absolutely not agree. I swear on my authority of the moon, unless I go out. Do you understand? Holy Lord. Understand, understand, understand. The body of the Holy Lord was frozen in the deep purple magic power, and he couldn't even nod, so he could only agree quickly. But how can we escape from hell? Zimu said, our goal is to find a way to escape from hell. If we can escape, what's the point of releasing the Holy Lord? This statement was unanimously recognized by the other demons. After all, the most important thing for them now is to survive. If they can't escape from hell, then it's no different from being dead. Even if they want revenge, they can only survive first and then consider the issue of revenge. Anyway, I firmly disagree with sending the Holy Lord out. Absolutely not. Zealand said, let's wait and see. But we don't have much time. The Holy Lord, this waste, has proved to us that he is a waste who is more likely to cause trouble than to accomplish anything. I firmly oppose letting him go on the mission. But now we are not only short of power, but also the gate of hell is completely blocked. We don't have the power to send a complete demon out. Yes, I'm your only choice. Shut up, or thunder fell, and the Holy Lord was almost fainted by the electric shock. In the screening room, Constantine understood. I was wondering how the Spear of Longinus could have suddenly appeared after disappearing for so many years. It turns out that the mastermind behind this was Gabrielle and Angela and her sister Isabella. No wonder the devil could locate them so easily. Now I understand everything. But why would it do such a thing? Constantine said he didn't understand. It didn't make sense. How could it help the devil? He was one of the archangels in heaven, with a very high status. Image continues. Betrayal, murder, genocide. Call me pedantic. I just want to enlighten mankind. By handing the world over to the son of Satan? Enlighten me first. Gabriel didn't waste any words when he heard this. He grabbed Constantine's neck and lifted him up. You have been given a precious gift, right? Each of you will have a chance to be redeemed. No matter what kind of bastard you are, just repent and God will embrace you. In the vast universe, no other creature can be proud of this except humans. It's really unfair. Gabriel babbled a lot to Constantine and finally concluded that it was jealous. It was jealous for some unknown reason. Although Gabriel was crazy, her own power was still that of the Archangel of Heaven, and her combat power would not change because of her actions. Gabriel didn't even do anything, just blew gently and blew Constantine away. Question begins. How can Constantine destroy Gabriel's plan and drive Mammon back to hell? This question is a single player quiz. 50 points will be awarded for correct answers, and a hell card will be drawn for wrong answers. Wolverine, 50. Strange, calm down. This is a hell card. Everyone looked at the specially marked golden 50 and blood red hell card and couldn't help but gasp, and the temperature of the entire screening room rose. Scary. The nightmare card almost killed someone, and this hell card might really throw people into hell. Loki, aren't you going to answer? Wanda, you come. Right square bracket. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Constantine's answer. Wanda, if you want to go, you go. I won't. Loki, humph, mortals, you can't do things well. Wanda, then you go. Loki, humph. Loki knew very well that he didn't want to go up and give himself a head. That's a hell card. A hell card. If you're not careful, you will really die. Looking at himself being knocked away by Gabriel on the screen, Constantine frowned and began to think. First of all, it's impossible to fight. There's no chance that he can beat Gabriel. Constantine knew very well that the equipment in his hand on the screen was just so-so. It was okay to fight ordinary demons, but it was not even as good as scraping against Gabriel, the archangel who was as powerful as the demon lord. Moreover, his weapons were basically used to deal with demons. Holy water had no effect on angels at all. His black magic was no different from street tricks in front of Gabriel. Okay, let's analyze it first. Strange said, this is 50 points, so you have to be careful. Hickory then said, based on the previous questions and answers, we can draw the following rules. Ultraman Hickory, first. There is usually important information in the questions. Ultraman Hickory, second. The screening room can't give us a question that cannot be answered. There must be someone who knows the answer. It's just a matter of whether we can detect it. Ultraman Hickory, third. Important information is usually hidden in the previous screenings. Ultraman Hickory, this is the rule I summed up. Wolverine, fourth. Following the lucky people to choose is usually not wrong. Peter Parker, it's a pity that this is not a multiple choice question, otherwise I would have followed Mr. Hickory and guessed it. Ultraman Hickory, don't be superstitious about my luck, we have to believe in science. Ultraman Hickory, I also made the wrong choice before, and was fined a pain card. Tony Stark, there is also a fifth rule, you can ask the screening room to give some hints. Everyone looked at each other, and Hikaru asked, excuse me, this is the 50-point hell card difficulty, and the screening room does not provide hints. Okay, the fifth rule can be modified. It feels like the intensity of the screening room has begun to increase. Magneto, Master, please tell me if there are any details that we didn't notice. Strange, let me say, how should I say it? Strange, although I can recall every sentence and every picture, I don't know what the key point is. Even if I can repeat the plot word for word, I can't find the key point. Bruce Wayne, if I had your memory, I might be able to find some useful information. Tony Stark, I brought a video recorder, but it's useless. Thanos, if it were me, I would choose to kill that woman to prevent Mammon from coming to the world. Thanos, in my opinion, there are 3 ways to solve this problem. Thanos, first, kill Gabrielle. Second, take the Spear of Longinus. Third, kill Angela. Thanos, kill Gabrielle, and then you can repel Mammon and expel him back to hell. But Constantine does not have such power. Thanos, then take the Spear of Longinus. Mammon needs the power of God to come to the world, and the only power of God that can be found is the blood of Jesus on the tip of the Spear of Longinus. Without the Spear of Longinus, Mammon cannot come to the world either. Thanos, but it is obvious that Constantine does not have such power. Thanos, in this case, the only way is to choose the last method. Kill Angela. Thanos, Angela is the carrier of Mammon's coming. As long as she dies, Mammon can't come to the world. Wanda, you lunatic, is there no other way except killing people? Wolverine, TSK, although I don't want to admit it, but what this purple potato spirit said makes sense. Wanda, Uncle Wolf, why did you betray me? Wolverine, girl, I didn't betray you. I have always supported the idea of cutting this purple potato into strips. But now rationally speaking, this is indeed a method. Wolverine, but with Gabrielle around, it is obviously not easy to kill Angela. 1. Could it be that Constantine prayed to God and asked God to take action? Peter Parker, but shouldn't God be omniscient and omnipotent? Do we need to pray to make God take action? 1. God is just a powerful God. To put it bluntly, he is a powerful external creature, and to put it bluntly, he is another Dormammu. 1. If you are not a Christian, there is no need to have too much respect for God. Without heaven, the Ancient One in his prime can easily defeat God. Strange, however, it could also be a deus ex machina. Constantine, I see. Constantine's eyes lit up. When he heard about deus ex machina, he suddenly understood. It is indeed a deus ex machina. Constantine said, it's just not that old bastard God. Constantine, screening room, my answer is, I will commit suicide. Everyone. Are you crazy? Loki, he is indeed crazy. Draw a hell card. This is indeed suicide. Constantine answered correctly. Reward 50 points. Oh my god. Everyone looked horrified. What happened? Why? I understand. Strange said, we already knew that suicide will go to hell. And because Mr. Constantine has basically offended 99% of the demons, his soul will definitely be fought over by countless demons in hell. That's right, according to Constantine, demons are creatures that respect strength, and Satan is undoubtedly the strongest among them. Holy Lord, and Mammon is Satan's son, and a rebellious son who wants to rebel against his father, just like my rebellious son. That's right. So as long as Constantine commits suicide, his soul will definitely see Satan, and then Satan will definitely come to deal with Mammon. Correction. Constantine said calmly, while smoking a cigarette, it's not that I will go back to see him after I die, but that he will definitely be eager to take my soul. So as long as I commit suicide, I can see that bastard. Just tell him, when the time comes. Constantine said, with Satan's strength, dealing with Gabrielle is like playing, and the world is safe. Chapter 164, Morning Star. Wolverine, you are a ruthless person, no worse than the wizard. Wolverine was really shocked. He didn't expect that he could play like this. A wizard died countless times to stop the arrival of the alien demon and drove the alien demon away alive. Another exorcist, in order to stop the demon from coming to the world, actually committed suicide in exchange for the safety of the world. At this moment, Wolverine really admired this group of wizards. The video continues. Gabriel's power was too strong, and he easily defeated Constantine. For this reason, Constantine could only call on God to come. I know I'm not your favorite person, and even the church does not welcome me, but just give me a little attention, I beg you. But it was useless. Looking at the glass on the ground, Constantine knew that he could only use the method he least wanted to use, but it was also the only way. Constantine sat on the ground, and the glass in his hand cut his wrist without hesitation. It hurts. Hurry up. Constantine didn't care about the pain, and even felt a little impatient. Why did death come so slowly? In another room, Gabriel looked at Angela's churning stomach and prepared to let Mammon come. As the archangel who protects the world, he has seen too many ugly things of human beings, and now these mortals only need to repent to enter the arms of the Lord. How unfair it is. This group of humans needs to be tempered. In Gabriel's view, only those who can remain pure in Mammon's hell on earth can enter the kingdom of the Lord. Son of Satan, I will release you into this world. It took out the spear of Longinus from its body. The blood of God on the tip of the spear can allow the son of Satan to break the barrier and truly come into this world. Just like the illustration in the Hell Bible, Gabriel raised the tip of the spear and stabbed it towards Angela's stomach. As long as the tip of the spear cuts through the belly, the son of Satan can come to the world. At the critical moment, Gabriel stopped. No, it should be frozen. Not only Gabriel was frozen, but everything in the world was frozen. And in Constantine's room, a figure in a white suit, barefoot, but with black unknown liquid all over his feet appeared. Why are you so slow? Constantine looked at the other person, as if he was greeting an old friend. And the other person was the strongest demon in hell, Satan, Lucifer. God's enemies call him Satan. Satan is a position, and after the fall, Lucifer, as the strongest fallen angel, was given this position. Hello, John. When the Demon King saw his enemy, he did not get angry as imagined, but greeted him politely. It took a stool and placed it in front of Constantine, sitting there, like a winner, a hunter, looking at its prey. Constantine, I will come and collect your soul myself. Satan clapped his hands happily. I heard that too. Constantine said. He knew very well that Satan was going to take his soul away. Do you mind if I smoke a cigarette? Constantine regained his strength at this moment and reached into his pocket. You can do whatever you want. I have plenty of time, and I also have shares in the tobacco factory, Satan said nonchalantly. The man and the demon chatted harmoniously like old friends who had been gathering for many years. Constantine put the cigarette in his mouth, but found that his hand no longer had the strength to hold the lighter. If you cut too deep, you will cut the tendon, Satan commented, and at the same time he lit the lighter and helped Constantine light the cigarette. At this moment, Satan was caring for Constantine like an old executioner who had executed countless people, the kind of meticulous care that an old executioner would give to a criminal who was about to be executed. Just like the wall breaker to the wall breaker tailor. Satan looked at Constantine and said, am I okay? Little guy, I have a theme park in hell waiting for you to play. You are so nice to me. Constantine sneered. I don't think you will make the same mistake twice. Satan looked at Constantine and said seriously, you did it on purpose. Yes, Satan had already seen that the other party was doing it on purpose. As a person who once committed suicide and now does everything he can to offend 99% of the demons in hell, just to go to heaven, suicide is still a second suicide. Is this possible? It is possible, but that was when Constantine was crazy. Obviously, Constantine is not crazy now, right? Is your family okay? Constantine asked back. Very good. Busy, 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 very busy, need a vacation. It is said that your child is exactly like you. I have to remind you, he is next door. Naughty. He is with Gabriel. Aha. They have the spear of Longinus. They have the spear of Longinus. Hearing this, Satan laughed disdainfully and then said very seriously, is this another conspiracy of yours? It is obvious that this king of hell has also been tricked by Constantine, and it has left a very deep impression on him. You will know for yourself when you go and see. They are next door. You have been waiting for a long time, for a full 20 years, 20 seconds. It doesn't matter a little bit. Lucifer, Satan, or Lucifer. He walked directly into another room, where he saw Gabriel holding the spear of Longinus, and it was about to stab Angela with the spear of Longinus. Lucifer certainly understood what this was going to do. Lucifer reached out and took Angela out in the frozen time. Then, the passage of time began. Lucifer, Gabriel, who failed to hit the target, was so scared that his wings flew out when he saw his old acquaintance and old boss. Gabriel could show off his power in front of Constantine, but he was not good enough in front of Lucifer. After all, he was Lucifer, the former morning star, the only six-winged seraph created by God, the vice prince of heaven, whose status in heaven was second only to God, and who was the most powerful being in hell after his fall. Gabriel was nothing in front of him. Even Michael could not do anything about it. Sooner or later, this world will be mine. You, Gabriel, should know what ambition is better than any of us. Son of perdition, little trumpet, unclean man. Gabriel trembled and said Lucifer's old name. I really miss these old names. It's time to go home, son. Lucifer whispered in Angela's ear. The next second, Mammon was beaten back to hell. In the name of God, destroy evil. Gabriel punched him, but stopped in front of Lucifer. As for Michael, I'm still interested in fighting him. Regarding Satan and Lucifer, you can just read the version you like. I used to think that Satan and Lucifer were two different people, but later I found out that Satan is a name. In many versions, Lucifer and Satan are not the same existence. For example, the King of Hell is unhappy, which I like to watch very much, has now been renamed The King is Unhappy, and the animated version of Yan Xiaoluo always makes me feel that it is not as good looking as the comics. Chapter 165 Large-scale quit smoking advertisement. Lucifer wanted to attack, but found something interesting. It seems that someone doesn't want to be your backer anymore. Lucifer smiled, and the gold in Gabriel's eyes was gone at this moment. Lucifer did nothing. Gabriel needed to blow a breath to hit Constantine, but Lucifer didn't even need to blow a breath. A breath of hell came like a strong wind, and the wings behind Gabriel were directly burned to ashes. Lucifer saw Gabriel being beaten and flew away, and knew that God had held back, otherwise it would not be Gabriel's wings that were burned to ashes, but the whole Gabriel. Facing Gabriel, Lucifer just released his own power and easily defeated the Archangel, although this was also related to God giving up Gabriel. Lucifer did not attack. He knew that God wanted Gabriel to atone for his sins in the world. Anyway, they are all God's children, so just give their father a face. Lucifer walked back, looked at Constantine who was slumped on the ground, and said, okay, I owe you a favor, then. What do you want? Live a little longer. Lucifer looked at Constantine and asked with gritted teeth, although he wanted to take Constantine to hell right now and let him experience the theme park he prepared for him. But, who is he? Lucifer, the king of hell. Satan, the morning star. He, Lucifer, must have face. Since Constantine used his life to summon him out and let him deal with his unfilial son, he owed Constantine a favor. Lucifer had to pay this favor back, otherwise, if this matter got out, who would come to him? Lucifer? Wouldn't he be embarrassed? They are all in the underworld, so they can't lose face. Anyway, in Lucifer's opinion, the dying Constantine's request must be to live a little longer. So just as he said, the worst that can happen is that he can wait a little longer. He has waited for 20 years, so it doesn't matter if he waits for 40 or 80 years. But what Constantine said next surprised Lucifer. Let Angela's sister, Isabella, go to heaven. She is innocent. Oh. Lucifer admitted that he was surprised. Lucifer was still very clear about Constantine. After all, he had wanted to get Constantine's soul for a long time. If he wanted to get Constantine's soul, he had to let Constantine go to hell. in order to prevent Constantine from truly repenting and going to heaven, which would cause his plan to fail. So he began to observe Constantine and study how to make Constantine completely degenerate. Then he found that he didn't need to worry about it at all. This guy didn't need to worry about it himself. He couldn't go to heaven at all. Lucifer was so sure, because he was sure Constantine was not a good guy. There were some demons in hell that he should not take with him. So he was extremely surprised that Constantine wanted to sacrifice himself to let Isabella go to heaven. You want to give up your life to let her go to heaven? Looking at Constantine's eyes, Lucifer understood. Although he was surprised, Lucifer did not resist this behavior. On the contrary, he was particularly happy because he could take Constantine to his theme park directly. So Lucifer closed his eyes. Just 1 second later, Lucifer opened his eyes and said, "Okay, it's settled. This efficiency killed many human departments in seconds. It's time to go, John." Lucifer laughed. Okay. Constantine took the last puff of his cigarette, as if he had accepted this ending. Lucifer walked up to Constantine and turned to walk towards hell. On the way, he even hummed a little song happily. But after just a few steps, he felt something was wrong. Fuck, why is this thing so heavy? Fuck, this tonnage is wrong. Lucifer's face was full of solemnity. He turned his head and held Constantine's wrist tightly with both hands, dragging him towards the direction of hell. But no matter how hard Lucifer tried, Constantine stood still. The floor cracked, and a dazzling golden light lit up in front of Lucifer. Under the cover of the light, Constantine's body began to slowly float upwards, and Lucifer understood, and he murmured to himself, "Self-sacrifice." At this moment, Constantine floated towards the sky city in the distance. Where God lives, there is heaven. While floating up, Constantine slowly made an international friendly gesture to Lucifer. Perhaps because he was unwilling, or perhaps because he was angered by Constantine's international friendly gesture, Lucifer shouted angrily, "No. This soul belongs to me." Looking at Constantine's extremely annoying expression, Lucifer was even more furious. "No, you have to live, John Constantine. You will live. Only in this way, you will have the opportunity to prove that you belong to hell." Lucifer directly tore off Constantine's clothes, inserted his hands into Constantine's chest, and dug hard, and actually took out a pile of black matter. That was Constantine's lung, a broken lung. Lucifer took out the broken lung in Constantine's body with his bare hands, and then let him grow a brand new lung! Exclamation mark. Of course, the feeling during this period was definitely not pleasant, and Constantine was wearing a painful mask throughout the whole process. That's right, in order to prevent Constantine from going to heaven, Lucifer chose to heal him. After a long time, Constantine woke up from his coma. He opened his eyes and felt unusually relaxed all over his body. Lucifer seemed to have lost, but for him, only if Constantine was alive would he have the opportunity to continue making mistakes. As long as he found the opportunity, he could tempt Constantine to hell again. Isn't it just time? He, Lucifer, can afford it. After waking up, Constantine found Angela. "Thank you. You're welcome." After Constantine finished speaking, he pulled up the spear of Longinus on the ground and walked to Gabriel on the side. "You don't deserve to be a human. Do you want revenge? Are you thinking about revenge now?" Gabriel said, "Come on, do it. End my life." As he said that, Gabriel handed over the holy fire gun from before. The muzzle of the holy fire gun was aimed at Gabriel. As long as Constantine gently pulled the trigger, Gabriel, who had now become immortal, would definitely die on the spot. Doing God's work, this is your choice. Gabriel was particularly looking forward to it. Maybe he could return to heaven if he died, but he certainly couldn't commit suicide. Constantine looked at Gabriel and said, "Yes, this is my choice." After that, he threw a punch. Looking at Gabriel with a distorted expression, Constantine told him that this was called pain. Gabriel didn't react at first. As an angel, he had never felt pain. Later, after he got over the initial discomfort, he smiled happily. In addition to the joy of feeling pain for the first time, Gabriel also said, "You could have killed me, John. You chose a more noble approach." While wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Gabriel shouted to Constantine and Angela's receding figures, "Look how well you did. A few days later, the two met on the roof of a building. My intuition as a detective tells me that you won't send flowers. How thoughtful. Under the night sky, Constantine handed the Spear of Longinus to Angela and asked her to hide the Spear of Longinus. Why give it to me? Hide it in a place where I can't find it. Looking at Constantine's face, Angela said, we will meet again if we are destined. That's a good idea. Our role model Constantine. After separating from Angela, Constantine took something out of his arms and put it in his mouth. However, this time it was a piece of chewing gum. He quit smoking. This story tells us smoking is harmful to physical and mental health. Chapter 166. I can be single, but my CP must get married. End of Hellblazer Rocky. Part 2 will be played in 3 minutes. It seems that the other me has a good ending. Constantine smoked with satisfaction. Well, Mr. Constantine, can't you see what Miss Angela means to you? Wanda. Of course he saw it. That's why he gave the Spear of Longinus to Angela. Wanda. Because he wants Angela to never find him. That's right. How could I not see that little trick? Peter originally thought that Constantine was a steel straight man who was even tougher than him, but he didn't expect that the other party was already a veteran in the love field. I've been targeted by Lucifer, and what happened to David and the others has proved that I'm a doomed man, and it's better for me to live alone. Constantine said I should consider asking David and the others to stay away from me. Perhaps I can live somewhere else under a different name. Speaking of which, Kit, Constantine asked back, you haven't dealt with your own emotional problems, and you're still in the mood to ask me. Haha. Tony got excited when he heard that and patted Peter's shoulder and said, after the screening, I will teach you everything I have learned in my life, and I guarantee that you will get that girl. Forget it, Stark. Strange pushed Tony's hand away from Peter's shoulder and said, Peter is a very talented young man, and I can't let you lead him astray. His talent is not inferior to mine. In the limited time, he should practice magic instead of indulging in women. Come on, wizard. Tony said mercilessly, I remember that your Kamatage is not an oriental temple, and there are no prohibitions on marriages and funerals. Even if it is, Peter and you are not worshipping the same gods. His power comes from Ultraman, not your Vishanti. That's right, but it's equally important to keep yourself clean. Seeing the two people about to fight, Peter could only look to Omo Hikaru for help. Peter, you should boldly pursue your love. It would be a pity to miss it. Unexpectedly, the neutral Hikaru also gave Peter an answer that he didn't expect. That's right, life is short, you should enjoy it while you can. I won't even interfere with the conflicts within the planet, let alone your private life. But Peter, some people love you and are waiting for your response. If you really don't like that girl, just tell her simply and clearly. Sometimes temporary pain is unbearable, but long-term continuous damage is more hurtful. Hikaru said, I don't actually have much experience in this area myself. I have devoted my whole life to the scientific research of the Kingdom of Light, but my young researchers like to come to me for talks when they encounter various difficulties, and many of them come to consult about emotional problems. If you like her, chase her. Even if you don't end up together, it's something worth remembering. At least, there are no regrets. I suddenly remembered the days when I had difficulty letting go. It's so uncomfortable. Woo woo woo. Although Hikaru is a person who has delayed his feelings because of his obsession with scientific research, there is a good saying, I can be single, but the couple I support must get married. Anyway, I have no chance. Seeing the child I raised with my own hands and his lover loving each other, although he was abused, I'm still very relieved. So the author loves warriors. Minotaur, die. Wolverine, boy, if you like someone, just chase them. What are you worried about? This is not a battlefield. What are you still thinking about? Wanda, that's right. Captain America, don't let waiting become a regret. Captain America, cherish the present, cherish the present. Ultraman Ace, failure is not terrible, what is terrible is not having the courage to try. Haha, even the captain, the old antique, has spoken. What are you still hesitating about? Encouraged, instigated, by most of the active personnel, Peter finally plucked up the courage and said, then when I get back, I will go find Gwen. Yes. That's right. That's right. I'll go first. Loki second is on air. Loki, haha. Mortal. Finally, it's my home court. Wolverine, who are you sending to? Loki, how dare a mortal disrespect the gods? Tony Stark, haha, you better pray that some embarrassing scenes will be shown in the theater, such as the 1/16 speed flow, one Hulk's ultimate round trip throw. Although he was tough on the outside, Loki was praying in his heart that Odin would bless him and not embarrass his counterpart again. Previous Loki was captured by the Time Management Bureau. After gaining initial trust, Loki followed the people of the Time Management Bureau to search for the time criminal Loki. Then, one of the guards was possessed by the female Loki, and the Tolokis were negotiating. Possession is a clever move. Loki looked at the possessed guard in front of him and said, a little cowardly and amateurish, but still very clever. Really? A lackey of the Time Administration? I'm working for myself. Don't worry about anything else. At least you can't lose verbally, especially when the other party is another self. Loki knows very well that when facing himself, as long as there is a slight disadvantage, he will lose completely. If the other party is Thor, the reckless man, maybe it's unnecessary, because the reckless man won't care about so many details, but the other party is Loki, even if it is his own homonym, he must be extra careful. You are just deceiving yourself. The possessed Loki said disdainfully, I was really worried before. They found a more advanced me. Then, the possessed Loki possessed another male clerk. Looking at the other party's ever-changing methods, Loki's face was particularly solemn, and he asked tentatively, are you afraid? Afraid of meeting me? Otherwise, show up. You know, it's not easy to gain the trust of TVA, Time Administration Bureau. Hearing that Loki was an undercover, the other party was a little surprised. Seeing this, Loki struck while the iron was hot and said, I want to overthrow the Guardian of Time. And now I need a deputy. That deputy is me, right? That's right. There is no one more suitable to be Loki's assistant than Loki. What do you think? Haha, that's right. That's it. Loki posted a barrage with excitement. Loki, as long as I can subdue that low-level Loki, the next step is to counterattack the Time Administration Bureau. I originally wanted to play Avengers 3, Titan War, but after some thought, I felt that segment was just the icing on the cake for the overall plot, like a dessert after a meal, so I decided to play Loki and then ask everyone's opinions on whether to show Avengers 3 afterwards. Chapter 167 Female Loki. Listen. I helped you delay a lot of time before. Really? Then I really thank you very much. The male clerk possessed by Loki said coldly, but I refuse. I have no interest in ruling the Time Management Bureau. Just as the two Lokis were talking, the camera in the screening room was focused on a device on a shelf for a close-up. What is that? The time reset device. Strange frowned and said, I remember it very clearly. The device used by the previous time guard to reset the timeline is very similar to this one. If I remember correctly, the Time Management Bureau said in the previous plot that this time criminal Loki has been attacking their time guards and then stealing the time reset device. Is this his purpose? What is he going to do? Loki, it's very simple. Boom. Loki, a gorgeous fireworks display. Loki, as expected of my counterpart. It's cruel enough. I like it. The video continues. Loki asked loudly, if you don't plan to rule the Time Administration, what are you going to do? It doesn't matter, you're too late. I'm always one step ahead of others, so I can find your hiding place, which proves that I'm the highest level Loki. As soon as the voice fell, Loki suddenly saw something on the shelf next to him, and his face suddenly changed. It was a time reset device. Loki didn't have a god's perspective, but his brain was still very good. He quickly realized what the other party was going to do. So that's it. This is your plan. Lead us here, and then blow this place up. The next moment, the other party's figure disappeared. Then, just when Loki was at a loss, a figure suddenly appeared, kicked him in the stomach, and kicked him out. Sneak attack. Loki climbed up, while enduring the pain, and the other party had already possessed another man. And the arms of this possessed object were thicker than the calves of the previous clerk. Seeing such a violent image, Loki only felt a headache. To be honest, I personally prefer that Clark Randy. Loki had just climbed up when the other party ran over and kicked him. Tony Stark, aren't you a god? It's okay that you can't beat the higher Loki, but how can you not even beat a mortal? Seeing this, Loki retorted in anger. Loki, what do you know, mortal? Loki, it's just a fight between two lower Lokis. After being possessed by the magic of possession, the opponent's power will be blessed by divine power, so it will be so strong. The lower Loki who was knocked down was attacked before and was injured, so he was knocked down by the mortal who was blessed by Loki's divine power. Avengers building. Really? Loki, can you use magic like this? Thor asked curiously. I've never seen you use magic like this. Of course. Loki soon realized that the other Loki was talking nonsense, but he would never admit the fact that he would be beaten by a mortal. Just kidding. Even if it was a low-level Loki, he was still Loki. If he was really beaten by a mortal, wouldn't it be a loss of face for him, the highest level Loki? Loki would never admit it, but would help the other Loki to cover up his lie. The video continues. Loki was knocked to the ground and struggled for a long time before getting up from the ground. Loki looked at the other person and found that the other person was installing another time device. What do you want to do? The possessed middle-aged man sneered and then fainted on the spot. The other person was freed from possession. Loki turned around and saw a man in black walking out of the darkness and slowly taking off the hood on his head. It was a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, wearing a strange headdress on her head. Woman. 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 Loki, WDNMD. Loki, what the hell is this? Loki, I accept the Hulk, Vikings, and Frost Giants. Loki, what the hell is this woman? Wanda. Loki, this woman is so beautiful. Tony Stark, yes, I have slept with many women, but there are not many like this one. Loki, shut up. Wanda, I like her hair color so much. Loki, Avengers building. Loki's face turned green, and he turned his head to see that his brother was actually watching with relish. Thor, what the hell are you looking at? Loki, don't bring up mother. Thor said seriously, I like your isotope very much. Don't say, I really like that type of woman. Loki retreated all the way behind Odin and Ancient One with a distorted face. My brother seems to want to have sex with me. What should I do? I'm waiting online. It's urgent. The video continues. Looking at the female version of himself, Loki was also stunned. Just then, the time reset device was activated. Darkness fell instantly. In the darkness, the light of the time reset device was particularly conspicuous. And in this place, there were no less than 30 densely packed light points. Then a portal appeared under the time reset device, and the time reset device was teleported away. The Time Management Bureau. The original sacred timeline began to run wild. In a monitoring room, Analyst 1182E looked at the screen and said in disbelief, this is impossible. He picked up the phone and hurriedly reported, this is Analyst 1182E, I want to report code 000. The time branch is rapidly forming a slope. And a more experienced old man next to him grabbed the phone and shouted, someone attacked the sacred timeline. The female judge, looking at the countless red branches erupting on the original sacred timeline, picked up a stick and rushed out. And in the time and space of 2050, Loki watched as the female Loki picked up a special instrument and opened a golden portal. Waving at Loki, the female Loki turned around and walked into the portal. It was not until now that Mobius led his troops to rush over. No. And the female Loki successfully entered the Time Management Bureau. The female Loki seemed to be very familiar with this place and started to move forward without hesitation. The female Loki also tried to control a time guard, but magic was not allowed to be used here. Although the control was unsuccessful, this female Loki was obviously more capable. The female Loki easily knocked down the time guard and seized the opponent's weapon. Then, with a backhand stab, the opponent was directly cut off. Chapter 168 Ace's Warning. The sound of the cutting attracted more guards, and the female Loki fought with them directly. The guards who beat Loki up seemed particularly powerless in front of the female Loki, and were easily knocked down and cut by the female Loki with extremely cruel means. And Loki also followed into the portal and entered the Time Management Bureau. The first thing he did was to take out his equipment from a closet. A pair of extremely sharp daggers. Perhaps it was telepathy between the Lokis. The two Lokis were facing each other in front of the golden elevator door. Looking at Loki holding a dagger, the female Loki smiled disdainfully. The battle between Loki and Loki officially began. Rude barbarian. Loki looked at the female Loki and asked helplessly, "Are you really Loki? I think you are more like Thor. You blocked my way. I blocked it." After a disagreement, the two fought together, and for a while, the swords flashed, and the shadows were inseparable. I thought we could cooperate. But now I think you lack foresight. Shut up. Just as the two Lokis were fighting, the female judge arrived with a large group of people. "If you dare to come over, I will kill him." Female Loki took advantage of Loki's distraction, and took him hostage with a flash. Please. The female judge didn't care about the hostages at all. Her operation was more fierce than the Russian anti-terrorism. After all, in her opinion, the female Loki was equivalent to the robbers taking their accomplices hostage during the suppression of bandits. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Loki snatched the time controller from the female Loki's hand, opened a golden light door, and teleported him and the female Loki away. Looking at the magical operation between the two Lokis on the screen, Peter was really a little dizzy. What are they doing? Why are they fighting? Peter asked in confusion. Don't they have a common enemy, the Time Administration? Peter, you don't understand this. Constantine said, in religion, there is such a saying. Pagans are far more hateful than heretical gods. Although the two Lokis have a common enemy, the Time Administration, their goals are different. Strange continued, I heard it very clearly. The two Lokis, one wants to control the Time Administration, and the other wants to completely destroy the Time Administration. Female Loki obviously has a deeper hatred for the Time Administration. Wanda, this group of Time Administration, I'm more and more suspicious of their identities. Wanda, if they really have the ability to control the entire multiverse timeline, would they not be able to control a mere Loki's isotope? Wanda, and those Time Guardians would need a group of Time Guards with such strength to help them work, not to mention protection. Wanda, according to my research, the stronger the life form, the less it needs ordinary people. I can now create things out of thin air. Creating living things is impossible for me now, but creating some dead things is easier than making paper airplanes with plasticine. Wanda, as long as I want, I can create a diamond castle at any time. Ultraman Ace, Wanda, remember, no matter how powerful you are in the future, don't try to use magic to create a real life. Never, remember. Wanda, why? Is it because of ethics? Bruce Wayne, there are some reasons. This is also part of the reason why cloning is banned. Now test tube babies are also banned because of our human ethics and morality. Wanda, but Ace and the others are not from Earth. Ultraman Ace, Wanda, listen to me. Let's not talk about what this has to do with ethics for now. This is my experience born from years of combat. Ultraman Ace, as far as I know, all artificial life has only one ending. That is to run away and then be killed. Ultraman Ace, when Jack was on Earth, he encountered a strange monster. This monster was created by a human scientist. He wanted to combine animals and plants to create a new life. He succeeded, but this creature was completely out of his control. In the end, the human scientist died at the hands of his creation. Ultraman Ace, there is also Infinite Ultron, which is also a man-made product. Although it is artificial intelligence, it can also be regarded as a kind of life. You came late and don't know how strong Infinite Ultron is, but he destroyed the life of the entire universe. Ultraman Ace, so, don't try to touch the absolute taboo. Ultraman Ace, do you understand? Wanda, got it. Seeing that Wanda temporarily gave up this crazy idea, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Tony Stark, listen, Wanda, you need to calm down. Captain America, that's right. You are losing your respect for life now. Wolverine, girl, listen to me. I don't have that much culture, but I know what you will become. If you continue to develop as you are now, you will become those old witches in fairy tales. All day long, you will fiddle with all kinds of disgusting spellcasting materials. Alone. Wolverine, it may be okay for you to have someone to accompany you now, but when you taste loneliness alone, you will gradually lose your humanity, no longer understand emotions, and gradually become a character like the villain in those stories. Wanda, okay, I get it. Wanda, that chaos god of magic has written 3 chaos magic books, isn't it okay? Strange, you are different from him. I read the life of that god of magic in the Book of Fire. How long did it take him from entry to becoming a god? 1,000 years. What about you? You are only 20 years old. Strange, don't practice magic for the time being. Anyway, the Thanos in your world is dead and there is nothing left. In this case, you should go around, travel, and have a honeymoon. 1. Yes, it is also very beneficial to relax. If you don't have enough money, just ask Stark for it. How can he not give it to you? Wanda was stunned when she saw this. How long has she been obsessed with the Chaos Grimoire? Since the book came into her hands, it seems that it has never left her even a meter away. Whether eating, sleeping, or even taking a bath, the Chaos Grimoire has never left her side. Correspondingly, it seems that she hasn't had a good meal with Vision for a long time. Chapter 169. 3,000 words. Let's take a look. Hello, Mr. Stark. Wanda was not a shy person, so she called Stark directly. After explaining her purpose, Stark said directly, no problem, you go directly to that 5-star French restaurant, and I will take care of the rest. After hanging up the phone, Stark shouted directly, Friday, notify the restaurant I bought to prepare to clear the place. After thinking for a while, Stark said, don't clear the place yet, it's good to keep some fireworks. Image continues, the two Lokis entered an unknown time and space during the fight. After a fight, the female Loki got the time controller with superior skills, and then happily found that it was out of power. Relying on an illusion, Loki successfully snatched the time controller. Give it to me, you can't charge it. Of course I know, you're not the only tech geek Loki. Don't call me that. Tech geek? Loki's words angered the female Loki, and she said, it's Loki. When everyone heard this, they realized that this was not a simple matter. It looks like you're a magician. Just as the two were fighting each other, a small stream of purple light fell from the sky. What is that? Is it your ability? Loki looked carefully and found that it was a stone, or rather, a meteorite. When the female Loki saw this scene, her face changed. In order to escape the time administration search, the female Loki had experienced countless doomsday scenes. When she saw this purple light meteorite, she instantly remembered a doomsday scene. At this time, another meteorite fell. The two looked up and felt numb. Both of them felt numb. You idiot. This is the Lamandis satellite number 1. You will kill us. I don't know what you are talking about. This is the timeline 2077. The Lamandis satellite number 1, the doomsday scene, one of the backup bases of the female Loki. In this timeline, this satellite colony will soon collide with another planet and be completely destroyed. You idiot. In my time controller, I have stored many doomsdays, and this is the worst. No one else. The two of them can no longer care about fighting at this time. They have to survive first, and then settle accounts with each other, or do anything else. Anyway, both sides have to survive first. When the two ran away, the female Loki suddenly pulled Loki and let him avoid a meteorite falling from the sky. I thought you wanted to kill me. The two Lokis hid under a truck, and Loki said panting, I don't know where you hid the time manager. Female Loki said quickly, if you are finished, then it is finished with it, and I can only be finished with it. Over there. Female Loki seemed to have enough experience, and ran all the way with Loki. So we are companions? Oh my god, absolutely not. The two Lokis supported each other, and finally rushed into a relatively safe building. In the building, female Loki quietly approached Loki. Just when female Loki put her hand on Loki's neck, Loki suddenly woke up. You are going to possess me. Give up, it's useless. Why? Just because you are a magician? No, because of my strong mind. Okay. Female Loki sighed, as if she didn't want to argue with Loki on this issue. Seeing that she couldn't control it, female Loki directly pulled out the knife, intending to fight with Loki again. Please. Can't we just stop fighting? Loki said helplessly, we are all Loki, the god of trickery, not Thor, the barbarian. Why do you have to use violence to solve the problem? Then what do you suggest? I don't know, how about a ceasefire? Listen, if we can't restore the time controller, neither of us can leave this damn place. Female Loki was anxious. She knew that, if she delayed for one more second, she would be one step closer to death. Where did you hide it? In my heart. Well, I'll dig it out now. That's great. Very funny. So cute. Loki smiled helplessly and said, okay, that's right. The time controller is here with me. If you hadn't kept yelling that you wanted to kill me, I wouldn't have gone so far. Nonsense. Because I know how to charge the time controller. This is the only reason you left me. Female Loki finally put down the knife. After listening to this, Loki could only shrug and said, yes, that's right, one of the reasons. The two Lokis argued for a while, but finally reached an agreement. That is to survive first. Loki will always be Loki. The two of them disliked each other, but only Thor would give up his life for the sake of momentary bravery and pleasure, while Loki would choose to endure it and find a way to stab the other in the back. The two reached an agreement and decided to find a power source. Yes, the time controller needs a lot of power. Such a magical artifact that can travel through time and dimensions actually only needs a lot of electricity to operate. So this thing only needs to be charged. Tony looked puzzled. Maybe their explanation is too simplistic. Hikaru said, it is also possible that the female Loki is deceiving Loki. This should be a common method used by the god of trickster. Well, from what they said, this should be the future time and space of mankind. At this time, people have entered interstellar travel and established alien colonies. It is not ruled out that there are extraterrestrial life. Their world is not just for Earthlings. I remember there was an English sign on a building. In other words, this time manager is really powered by electricity? Looking at the trio who have entered the scientific research state again, everyone silently moved a position. Video continues. The two chatted along the way, and during this time, Loki also learned the new name of the female Loki, Sylvie. Sylvie mercilessly mocked Loki, who was bragging about himself, independence, authority, and style. Is that why you went to work for those bastards in the Time Management Bureau? I didn't work for them, I was just a consultant. Loki said, you just want to destroy that place, create a power vacuum, and walk away quietly. And Sylvie didn't want to pay any attention to this, just continued to move forward. I think that Sylvie should be worried. Peter suddenly said, I know you can all see it, but it's not that kind of, it's just, I don't know how to say it, but I am. Wanda, I have a similar feeling. If I have to describe it, it's probably that this Loki was hurt more deeply. Loki, foolish mortals, have you lost the ability to organize language? Loki, let me explain it to you. Loki, that low-level Loki obviously wants to control the Time Management Bureau, but that Sylvie wants to destroy it. Loki, and they want to destroy it at all costs, which is very noticeable. Loki, Sylvie obviously hates the Time Management Bureau. Wanda, then what? Loki, then you guys can guess slowly. Wolverine, I asterisk asterisk asterisk. You're going to get beaten for speaking halfway. Loki, I'm a god. The video continues. Loki and Sylvie come to a ruined town. Sylvie tells Loki that it's still 12 hours away from complete destruction, and the environment will become more and more severe as time goes by. The frequency of meteorite falls increases, and the frequency of gravity earthquakes increases. These are enough to make the already difficult two people's journey even worse. When the two found a place to charge, Loki still refused to hand over the time controller. Although the two sides got along peacefully along the way, both Loki and Sylvie knew that, as long as the time controller was fully charged, the two sides would immediately enter a state of fighting. The current peace is nothing but a false illusion. Sure enough, the previous charging was just a lie that Sylvie told to trick the time controller. However, Sylvie's words may be enough to fool the author, who is not very careful, but it won't work to fool Loki, an old liar. After being discovered, Sylvie could only continue to look for a power source. When they found a house where someone was still living, Sylvie picked up a knife and wanted to kill her, but Loki stopped her and said, listen, violence and brute force cannot replace strategy and trickery. I know. After that, Sylvie kicked the door open and killed her. Then she was blown away by an air cannon. It's really remarkable that you can fly so far. Then, Loki turned into the husband of the woman in the house and walked in front of her. The next second, he was greeted by an air cannon with even greater power than before. That damned bastard has never said a good word to me in the 30 years since we got married. You are not travelers at all, you are devils. Looking at Loki being blown away, Sylvie burst into laughter. We just want to ask, where did everyone here go? To the Ark, that is, the escape ship. On the train station to the Ark, Loki successfully got on the train with his illusion magic and Sylvie's possession magic. On this train, the two same people who kept fighting each other finally had time to chat. I watched the third episode of Grey World again, and I couldn't help crying when I saw the photos in the birch forest. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Prince and Princess, Prince and Prince. On the train, both Lokis talked about their life stories. Loki said that his magic was taught by his mother, and he also said that he was actually an adopted son. And Sylvie told him directly that she had known that she was adopted. They actually told you the truth. Yes. Sylvie asked back, didn't they tell you? Loki was immediately broken on hearing this. Loki was broken, but he still talked to Sylvie about his family, to be more precise, about his mother. Loki asked Sylvie what her mother looked like, and Sylvie said that she couldn't remember clearly, only a vague impression remained. When I was young, she would perform some tricks for me. Loki recalled the happy time he spent with Frigga when he was a child. The childhood of most people is always so nostalgic. At that time, there were no worries such as going to work, working, making money, taking exams, getting married and having children. For example, turning flowers into frogs, or setting off fireworks on the water. I couldn't do it at that time, but she told me that I could do it because I can do everything. Hearing this, Sylvie surprisingly did not refute. The two Lokis could only maintain peace on matters concerning their mothers. Do you want to see it? Loki raised his hand, and a stream of magical illusion fireworks bloomed in his hand. Not bad. Regarding Sylvie's evaluation, Loki did not say anything, but continued, she is the kind of person who can make you believe in yourself. It seems that she did it. She did it. Loki changed the subject and asked, where did you learn it? I taught myself. Sylvie certainly knew what Loki wanted to ask. You taught yourself? As the two Lokis chatted, they talked about the issue of love. Loki also asked Sylvie if she had a lover. What about you? You are a prince, so your other side must be a princess, or maybe another prince. After saying that, Sylvie raised her eyebrows. Both, I think the same as you. But everything is so fake. At this point, both of them were silent. The two of them were silent, and the Avengers building exploded. Odin looked at his third son behind him with a complicated expression, not knowing what to say. Dr. Banner had an expression that said, I'm still too young and have little experience. They are brothers, right? The captain looked serious. Although he gradually changed his ideas from the last century, after entering this era, homosexuality was already his limit. With the buff of a blood relative, he really couldn't handle it. Loki was adopted. Hawkeye Clint interrupted. Loki. Thor strode towards Loki, and Loki turned around and ran away. Wait a minute, Loki, if you have someone you like, why don't you tell me and my father? Which girl do you like? I will bring people to propose marriage to you. Is it from the Vanir, or from Midgard, or your hometown Jotunheim? If it's Muspelheim, it's okay. But Surtur doesn't seem to have a daughter. Did Thor really not realize that there was only one person who met the requirements around Loki in the past 1,500 years? Natasha asked in a low voice. Could it be that Thor realized it, and then he didn't want to accept it, and took the initiative to change the subject? Clint responded in a lower voice. Even if Thor is slow, he shouldn't be unaware of it, and if he doesn't realize it, can't he hear what we say? In the screening room. Loki, don't think too much. Even if I like that Sylvie, I can't like that barbarian Thor. Wanda, actually, we are all very open-minded. Compared with my liking for a robot, it's not difficult to accept that you like your brother. Yes, you just need to be tricked into doing something that Strange's isotope does. Strange, ahem. Tony Stark, although, anyway, I wish you happiness. Loki, that's enough. In the prison of Asgard, Loki's face turned red with anger. What a coincidence, Thor just came in to deliver the prisoners. Loki, Thor saw Loki's red face and wanted to ask about Loki's situation. It turned out that it would be fine if he didn't ask. As soon as he asked, Loki screamed and even scared Thor. What the hell are you doing, Loki? Thor looked at Loki, who was left alone in the cell, and couldn't help asking. His relationship with Loki was in a Cold War period. Thor felt that Loki was going to make trouble, no matter how he looked at him, and that he was going to escape from prison. Nothing. Loki's expression quickly recovered. Father, I hope so. Thor glanced at Loki and turned away. Wait a minute. Loki thought for a long time and called Thor over. Thor, listen. Loki thought for a while and said, I had a dream, a very vivid dream. You know, I'm a wizard. I never dream casually. Loki looked at Thor and said, in my dream, I dreamed of dark elves. They broke into the palace and killed my mother. Loki. Thor looked at Loki in confusion. You know, even if Loki scolded him, or even said bad things about his father, there was no reason for him to curse his mother. Are you serious? You know, I never joke about my mother. Loki continued, I only dreamed of these. Remember, if you encounter anything related to dark elves, you must pay more attention. I see. Is there anything else to say? Wait for me to say hello to my mother. Loki looked at Thor's figure going away and fell into deep thought. Could he really like this guy? Loki had no idea at first, but now that he was poked by a group of guys in the screening room, the more he thought about it, the more he felt something was wrong. The more he wanted to drive Thor out of his mind, the clearer Thor's image became in his mind. For a moment, Loki didn't even notice that the live broadcast screen covered by the illusion was constantly playing videos. Image continues. In the midst of a burst of music, Sylvie slowly opened her eyes. Sylvie immediately saw Loki singing and dancing with a group of service staff. At this time, Loki had changed back into the clothes of the Time Administration Bureau and was singing and dancing with a group of trained staff. Right square bracket. Chapter 171 Bayonet Fight. Sylvie. Seeing Sylvie wake up, Loki simply sang to her. Finally, Loki drank the wine in his glass. Cheers to Sylvie. Raising the empty glass, Loki shouted another glass, and then held the Asgard refilling ceremony, smashing the poor glass into pieces. Tony Stark, by the way, what does this glass smashing mean in Asgard culture? Every time Thor finishes drinking, there will be glass shards all over the floor. Loki, humph, it's just the way barbarians do it. Wanda, are you looking at yourself on the screen and saying it again? Loki, a low-level Loki can definitely not represent me, the most advanced Loki. Bruce Wayne, you definitely need to be careful. You are now on a planet that is about to be destroyed. You are an illegal immigrant. Not only did you not disguise yourself properly, but you also took off your original disguise and went to sing and dance. Anything else would be absolutely fatal. The most important thing is that you have been targeted. Loki looked at Loki, who was watching a video of himself with a look of pain on his face. Damn it, why did that guy drink and make me look bad too? This is a secret that all the high-ranking officials in Asgard know. That is, Loki's alcohol tolerance is not good at drinking, and once he gets drunk, he will act crazy, and he is particularly easy to get drunk. After making a fool of himself several times, Loki didn't drink much. As a result, on this planet, perhaps because of too much pressure, Loki drank, and after 2 glasses of wine, he began to party drunkenly. The video continues. Sylvie pulls Loki aside and says, "You've had too much to drink." "No, I'm just full." Seeing this, Sylvie asks as if she were looking at a naughty child, "Where's your guard uniform?" Loki waves his hand and says, "Who cares? It's the end of the world anyway. I think there's a problem. Of course, that planet is about to hit us." "Idiot, that's not what I'm talking about. Some people look at you in a way that's obviously wrong. You're too sensitive. Maybe you have paranoia?" Hearing this, Sylvie laughs in anger and says, "Yeah, who told me to go fight the shitty Time Management Bureau you work so hard for?" Loki drank a lot, and he started to recite poetry to Sylvie. While the two Lokis were reciting poems, a passenger who felt something was wrong came to the guard. Loki says there's no problem, isn't it just the ticket? Look at me, the god of tricks, the master of illusion, the #1 magician in the 9 realms, rolling out one with my hands. Then Loki released the magic fireworks. So, both sides chose to use fists and feet, which is a simpler way to solve problems and disputes. Although Loki's fighting moves were very handsome, he was still thrown off the train by the two guards. Seeing this, Sylvie instantly remembered that the time controller was still on him, so she could only grit her teeth and jump off the train with him. Wanda, you are so lucky. You are a god after all. How can you be thrown out by two ordinary people? Tony Stark, yes, I have also seen Thor's battle records. Even with bare hands, even when Thor's power was sealed and Odin threw him to the earth, Thor fought with people alone, and it was effortless. Peter Parker, yes, I see you even used magic. How did you get thrown off? Strange. And at the beginning of Loki, Part I, Loki was knocked down by a time management bureau guard. Strange. I thought the time management bureau itself was very strong, but now it seems that I'm more inclined to believe that Loki's own strength is too weak. Bruce Wayne, are you really a god? Bruce now feels that the plans he prepared for Loki are a bit redundant. He feels that, after practicing Crane immortal martial arts, he can pin Loki to the ground and beat him up with his bare hands. Image continues after the two left the train. Sylvie finally couldn't stand it anymore, took out a knife and put it on Loki's neck, threatening viciously, give me the time controller. Okay. Loki could see that the other party was really angry and took out the hidden time controller. Then, he found that the time controller was smoking. Maybe I felt too badly just now. You bastard, you killed us all. Maybe it can be repaired. Loki fiddled with the time controller, but he used too much force and the time controller broke into 8 pieces on the spot. Looking at the time controller that broke into 8 pieces, Loki froze in embarrassment. You are not a reliable person, right? I'm a god. You are just a clown. You got drunk in the car. I'm a hedonist. I can be a hedonist. I will definitely enjoy more than you, but I won't sacrifice the mission. Mission? What mission? Loki retorted, your glorious mission? Forget it, you can't beat them at all. At this moment, Sylvie, who had been calm all the time, finally exploded under the blame of her pig teammates. Sylvie gathered green magic power with her hands, and the dust 2 meters around her was blown up by her. Looking at Sylvie sitting on the mountain sulking, Loki also felt a little regretful. He walked over slowly, sat down gently beside Sylvie and asked, does shouting make you feel better? Sylvie glanced at him and said, yes, it feels better. You should try it too. What should we do now? I don't know. Sylvie said, you broke the time controller. Okay. Now the planet is about to hit us. But what? The entire satellite is destroyed, right? Yes, everyone is dead. Including us? Yes, including. What about the Ark? The Ark failed to take off. It was destroyed. We didn't go up. Hearing Loki's words, Sylvie smiled disdainfully and asked, so what? We hijack the Ark and let it leave the satellite. Unexpectedly, what she got in return was Loki's serious words. I think this is a good idea. Okay. Sylvie was a very active person. Upon hearing this, she stood up and walked away. Seeing Sylvie's determination, Loki followed her directly. The two of them walked towards the distance. In the screening room, that Sylvie is obviously much stronger than Loki. Tony said, believe it or not, if there were two Lokis there instead of Loki and Sylvie, they would have been fighting with bayonets at this time. Don't tell me, the possibility is very high. Sylvie's mind is much stronger than that of the useless author who was so angry with his teammates while playing games that he bit his phone to pieces. The author has already mentioned hacking people. Chapter 170 to level up. The two walked and talked, and Loki suddenly asked Sylvie if she could help him walk by possessing someone. Sylvie told him that possession magic was very complicated. If you want to control some people with strong minds, you must use some means, such as creating an illusion for someone. Sylvie also mentioned the young guard of the Time Administration that she had controlled before. Her mind was very unstable, and everything about her was covered up. In order to make her believe, Sylvie could only find the other person's memory of living on Earth hundreds of years ago to construct an illusion. Wait a minute. What did you say? Loki suddenly realized that something was wrong. She is an ordinary person? Yes, an ordinary person living on Earth, and she likes Margaret. Loki looked at Sylvie and told her, they told me that everyone who works in the Time Administration was created by the Time Guardian. This is ridiculous. They are all time offenders like you and me. Sylvie's words were like a bolt from the blue, giving everyone a heavy blow. Well, now we can be sure that the Time Guardian is absolutely talking nonsense. Tony said, their power is definitely not as strong as expected. Even the Time Administration Bureau itself is a big lie. Loki, I knew it. The bullshit sacred timeline, the script, are all fake. King, so those Time Guardians are not strong enough to condense the entire multiverse into a line. Loki, of course. They dared to lie to me, the god of tricks. Very good, I'll remember it. Holy Lord, although I don't know how powerful the Time Guardians you are talking about are, have you ever thought about one thing? That is, what you see, what the Tulokis are experiencing now, is actually written by the Time Guardians. Loki, you low-level demon, do you want to question my thoughts? Holy Lord, shut up, you young boy. Holy Lord, back then, when we were ruling the kingdom on Earth, we held some interesting games, because we were bored. Among them, the wind demon Xiaofeng among our brothers and sisters was keen on watching many creatures duel for fun. Holy Lord, they fought desperately to kill their opponents in the arena, but as long as the demon sitting in the highest position is unhappy, they will still die. All the decision-making power is in the hands of us demons. If a creature is to be killed, but as long as Xiaofeng wants it to live, it will not die. Holy Lord, I have held similar duels before, but they were even meaningless, so I abolished them later. Holy Lord, what I want to say is, in the eyes of those Time Guardians, will the two of them be toys in the arena, or even the entire Time Administration Bureau is a toy, just for their amusement? Holy Lord, after living for too long, you will eventually find toys to amuse yourself, otherwise it is easy to get bored and go crazy. I have experience in this. Everyone looked at each other. This possibility is not non-existent. Loki, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Loki, how could someone be so bored? Holy Lord, you are not them. How do you know what they think? The kingdom of light is this, just to hold the fate of all living beings in your hands for fun. Today, the people who gathered to watch the video were Ace, Jack, Tregear, and Ultra Father and Ultra Mother. For them, this behavior was definitely an act that offended their bottom line. This is actually understandable to me. Countless light particles gathered around a few people, and a figure wearing a silver cloak appeared. King. Asterisk 5 Ultra Father, who had the highest status among the 5, stepped forward to complete the Ultra handshake ceremony. King, what you meant just now is, when one's strength reaches a certain level, one does need certain hobbies and other things to keep one's will from being lost. We call them heart anchors. Without a heart anchor, one will gradually lose oneself over a long period of time, and finally become a primitive creature that acts on instinct, is muddle-headed, and has chaotic thoughts. The King of Ultra looked at the 5 Ultras and said, Grimd is a representative. I'm too lazy to care about so many things. As long as there is no problem that you can't solve, I generally won't take action. Only when you try your best but it still doesn't help, will I take action. A peaceful life. This is my heart anchor. Heart anchor can also be called obsession, a life goal. To live, there must be a goal. The King of Ultra looked at the screen, thought for a moment, and said, suppose that those Time Guardians are real, and can twist the timeline of the multiverse into a fixed timeline, then their behavior of allowing Loki and Sylvie to mess up 4 times can be understood as them wanting to have some fun. Of course, I can't tell you the specific reason. After all, I'm not it. It's also possible that the Time Guardian is just a lie and doesn't exist. Don't worry too much, just live your life well. The video continues. Loki and Sylvie finally arrived at the city, where the Ark was located. It was already in chaos, and soon a large number of meteorites would fall from the sky and turn the city into ruins. In the face of such a natural disaster, the two could only run away desperately, and at this moment, there was only a violent roar, and the Ark, the spaceship that carried the satellite and everyone's hope, was hit by a huge meteorite and completely scrapped. The two looked at the exploding spaceship in the sky, and fell into despair. The spaceship exploded, and the two had no hope of escaping. Sylvie sat on a stone, looking at a loss. "I'm sorry." Loki walked to Sylvie's side and apologized sincerely. Loki was fully responsible for the two people's current situation. Sylvie glanced at Loki, but she was not angry, because she knew that anger was useless. Even if she killed Loki, she could not change her fate of death. The greatest sorrow is the death of one's heart. Sylvie no longer wanted to struggle. Question: how can Sylvie and Loki survive? This question is a single player answer mode, and the answer will start in 3 minutes. 30 points will be awarded for correct answers, and a nightmare card will be drawn for wrong answers. After 3 consecutive wrong answers, the level of this question will be upgraded, and the reward will be changed to 50 points, and the punishment will be changed to drawing a hell card. Chapter 173 Loki regrets. How do I answer this? Among all the questions, the most troublesome one is the single choice question that gives nothing, and the time is only 3 minutes. There are 3 possibilities. First, the Time Management Bureau comes to our door. Second, Sylvie and Loki have come up with a solution. Third, the orbit of the planet's impact suddenly changes. These are the possibilities I can think of now. Ultraman Ace, or did the human government send other rescue ships? I think this possibility is not small. Tony Stark, no, believe me, unless there is an heir to a big family on this planet, they will never send anyone to rescue. Tony Stark, in the eyes of those guys, the lives here are not as valuable as the ships. Tony Stark, let alone the best time for rescue and evacuation has long passed. Even if it hasn't passed, they can't consume expensive fuel for a group of civilians. Tony Stark, unless one of them has oil. Peter Parker, no way, these are real lives. Tony Stark, silly boy, human life is not worth mentioning in their eyes. Strange, could it be that some extremely powerful superhero has taken action? Strange, as far as I know, whether it is the Ancient One or His Majesty Odin, with their strength, they can still deal with this level of horrific natural disaster with ease. If there is a superhero with the strength of the Father, it will not be a big problem. Strange, even if there is no power to destroy a planet, as long as people can be rescued, it will be a great success. Strange, for example, Archamitage mystics can open a portal to take people away. Tony Stark, well, this sounds reliable. Strange, the time in that world is 2050. I'm less than 80 years old. It is easy for me to open a portal across planets. Tony Stark, what? Strange, don't be surprised. I can open a portal from Earth to Mars right now. Tony Stark, TSK, look at them, then look at you. We are both mages, why are you so weak? Constantine, no, if that's the case, this place shouldn't be called a doomsday scene. Constantine, I think this doomsday scene should be that everything is destroyed, just like the previous volcanic eruption, no one survived. Constantine, and Sylvie also said that no one survived. Constantine, pay attention, no one. If Sylvie is true, the only ending for this planet and the people on it is complete destruction. Constantine, so, the people on this planet will definitely not get help. Ultraman Hickory, if that's the case, we don't know what Loki and Sylvie have come up with, and we can't trust luck. That is, when the planet didn't collide with the satellite, it seems that the only way to survive is to be found and taken away by the time guards of the Time Administration. Ultraman Hickory, this question asks how Sylvie and Loki survived. Obviously, they can survive if they are captured. Wonder, but according to the style of the Time Management Bureau, even if Sylvie and Loki were captured, they would still be cut. Ultraman Hickory, first of all, different worlds and different races have different definitions of death. Second, we cannot be sure that the cutting period killed people. Wonder, but I saw it clearly. The end result of being touched by the cutter was that they disappeared completely. Ultraman Hickory, yes, disappearance, not death. The Time Management Bureau has always called this method cutting instead of killing or destroying. No one knows where they went after being cut. Maybe they were teleported to an unknown place to wait for death. Maybe they died. Or maybe they were reset. Ultraman Ace, just like they reset the timeline. Ultraman Hickory, that's right, just like the timeline explosion caused by Sylvie through the time reset device. Maybe Sylvie still has 1 or 2 spare time reset devices on her body. Maybe Sylvie and Loki themselves can trigger the branch of the timeline. Ultraman Hickory, you know, they are not from this world, and more importantly, they are the same person. Ultraman Hickory, they are each other's counterparts. 2 counterparts of the same person appeared in one world, and these 2 counterparts came from different worlds. Even if it is near the end of the world, it is impossible that there will be no timeline disturbance in such a chaotic time. Ultraman Hickory, based on the current situation, this is the most likely result. Hickory determined the answer in his heart. For him, being wrong is just a nightmare card, and he is confident that he can get through it. According to their communication, at least the passing of nightmare cards and pain cards can be tricky. For example, Captain America, who was the first to try the nightmare card, shared his experience with everyone. Although the nightmare card is not easy, and it also has a diarrhea debuff, the screening room does not have any mandatory requirements for how the card drawer can get through it. Although the attacks of others are invalid for the levels in the original 5 Tiger trial, there is no problem in buffing Captain America and providing equipment. Hickory is confident that if this nightmare card is enough to threaten his life, and the Kingdom of Light can't handle it, then he will go to King Ultra. King Ultra came to him in person after the first screening, telling him that he could go to him at any time if he couldn't solve the problem in the screening room, and he would always be on the list of allowed visitors to Kingstar. Although King Ultra couldn't help him resist, he could still lend him a few treasures. Time is up. Start answering. Ultraman Hickory, my answer is the chaotic branch of the timeline caused by Sylvie and Loki being together. The Time Management Bureau detected this situation and tracked it down. Ultraman Hickory's answer was judged to be correct, and 30 points are awarded. What a pity. I really want to try the taste of the nightmare card. In the Asgard prison, Loki slapped his forehead and regretted it. Why shouldn't I dare to go up? 30 points. 3 cards. If the answer was certain, Loki would want to answer it first. 30 points is not a small amount. Together with the points he had accumulated before, it is enough to exchange for a blue card. Chapter 174 3 updates. The video continues. At this time, what appeared was no longer the planet that Loki and Sylvie had seen before, which was on the verge of destruction, but a huge palace that was magnificent and golden. This is the residence of the 9 gods, Asgard. In the palace, there was a very cute little girl playing games with toys. She picked up a model of a dragon in her left hand, and a Valkyrie riding a Pegasus in her right hand. Muttering, the dragon rushed to the palace. The Valkyrie galloped over, defeated the dragon, and saved Asgard. And at this moment, a golden light door was opened, and a team of time guards from the Time Administration Bureau came out. The leader looked at the little girl, holding an instrument, and said to the confused little girl, "She is the time offender. According to the power granted by the Time Guardian, I arrest you for violating the sacred timeline." After that, 2 guards took the little girl away, and the other put down the time reset device. The little girl was taken to the Time Administration Bureau with a confused face, and experienced the same experience as Loki before. Unlike Loki, an old man who has lived for 1,500 years, the little girl is just a child. She will only feel endless fear when facing all these strange things. Either break out in silence, or perish in silence. Sylvie chooses to break out. After going through a set of procedures, Sylvie bit the guard's hand in the time court, broke free from the guard's control, and then snatched the time controller from the guard, opened the golden portal and escaped. Is this Sylvie when she was a child? Loki, that is, Asgard. Loki, these bastards dared to go wild in Asgard. In the screening room, everyone was furious when they saw little Sylvie being captured by the Time Administration and sent to court. Loki was fine before, but what did this Sylvie do wrong? She was just playing with toys. Peter said puzzledly, could playing with toys cause the timeline to branch? Loki, I said it a long time ago. Those bastards are a bunch of shit. Wanda, I thought she was captured during the attack on Earth like Loki, but she has been on the run since she was a child. This is too pitiful. Avengers building. Odin's one eye was full of anger. The former king was once again ignited by his anger. As a ruthless man who slaughtered more than one race when he was young, Odin wanted to lead his troops to the Time Management Bureau and turn the world upside down when his daughter was captured in his own home. Strange, something is wrong. Have you forgotten something? Strange. Before that, Mobius once said that there is no multiverse, only one sacred timeline. But if this is true, then how did this Sylvie come out? Bruce Wayne, that's right. If the timeline that Sylvie is in is wrong, Sylvie should have been reset as soon as she was born, and there is no chance for her to grow up. Wanda, yes, and she'll let Sylvie, who is just a little girl, run away. Strange. There is one more thing. In the previous video, Mobius once said to the female judge that maybe Loki might not necessarily be evil. Maybe he was tired of it and wanted to change. This is completely treasonous for a completely fixed sacred timeline. Ultraman Hickory, so we can draw a conclusion. That is, the sacred timeline and the Time Guardian should be a scam. Constantine, in fact, doesn't our existence prove the existence of the sacred timeline? If the sacred timeline exists, then aren't we all people from the same world or the same timeline? Constantine, we have proved that we are not from the same world. Ultraman Hickory, Mr. Constantine, there is a universe outside the universe, so outside the multiverse, can't there be a multiverse? Constantine, this. Ultraman Hickory, the universe is too big, so big that it cannot be explored. Tony Stark, however, the sacred timeline should exist in their universe. The female judge said that Loki was a liar, a jerk, and an evil villain. His role in the timeline is like this. Tony Stark, now I can make a guess that in the sacred timeline of their universe, Loki's role cannot deviate from the villain. So when Sylvie was playing the Dragon Quest game, the Time Management Bureau cut her out. Peter Parker, why? Loki, because if the me in that world becomes an admirer of the Valkyrie, wouldn't I have to go in the direction of the Valkyrie? Wouldn't I have to become a righteous hero? Those bastards can't let this happen, so they took action. Loki took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down, but the surrounding environment betrayed his mood. The entire cell turned into Jotunheim at this moment, and a layer of white frost formed on the walls and furniture. I can only be a villain, and I have to kill my mother. Okay, you are very good, Wanda, but when Loki assassinated Thanos, didn't he also not meet the conditions of a villain? Thanos, because he is going to die soon. Thanos, dead people don't need to care about so many things. Besides, who can say that the last action of the Asgardian was not set? Tony Stark, that's right. Even if Loki's last moment was not set, there is no need to care about a dead person, because he will not trigger the timeline. But Sylvie is just a little girl. That's not right. Some people will have a huge impact even if they die. Tony Stark, no. Tony Stark, let me sort it out. It seems that more bugs have appeared. Loki, don't even think about it. Those guys are just a bunch of bastards and liars. The video continues. Sylvie tells Loki about her stories over the years. Sylvie's eyes were filled with sadness. She said, I still remember Asgard, but the impression is not clear anymore. My hometown, my people, my life. Sylvie never stopped talking. The universe wants to break free, so it creates chaos. Like me, I was born a goddess of trickery. The sacred timeline has obvious branches. Because I don't want to be a goddess of trickery, the timeline branch is very obvious. In this case, the time administration will appear, eliminate the reality I'm in, and then arrest me. I was just a child at the time. I ran away. I stole a time controller and kept running for a long time. It was a memory that I couldn't bear to look back on. Since my reality no longer exists, I'm an alien everywhere. As long as I arrive at a place, I will be discovered. Chapter 175 Fatal Chicken Fight. Anywhere and anytime I go, there will be related events. Then it will attract attention, because I don't exist. Until I find a safe place, that is where I grew up, the end of countless worlds. Now, this is where I'm buried. At this moment, the end of the world is getting closer and closer. The frequency of meteorites falling is getting faster and faster. The atmospheres of the two planets are close, and the moment of destruction is about to come. The two locusts sat by a river, watching the meteorites falling in the sky, but both of them were extremely calm in their hearts. Ignoring danger and doomsday, this spectacular scene is really uncommon, or in other words, ordinary people will never see such a spectacular scene in their lifetime. Countless meteorites flew 4 times, and the entire sky was covered by another planet, which was constantly approaching, getting bigger and bigger. Looking at the meteor shower above her head, Sylvie asked faintly, "Do you think that the reason why Loki became Loki is because we are destined to fail?" "No," Loki said, "we will fail. Sometimes it is horrible, but we can't die. We can survive. Didn't you survive? When the Time Administration caught you, you were just a child, but you survived. You almost defeated the organization that claimed to notify the Time Order. Not only did you do it, but you did it alone. You are much better than them. You are the best." Hearing Loki's words, Sylvie's sad expression finally showed a little bit of relaxation. These years of loneliness, a person on the run, in order not to be discovered by the people of the Time Administration, had to live in the doomsday. If you are not careful, you will die directly in the doomsday. These years of experience have made Sylvie's mental will stronger than steel, but she is still a little girl who left her parents and was hunted down when she was a teenager. We don't know how Asgardians and frost giants develop, so let's assume that Sylvie was in her teens when she was taken away. With Loki's comfort, Sylvie reached out and held Loki's left hand. At the moment when the two locusts shook hands, the Time Management Bureau was in an uproar. Lock the reality aura. Wait, this energy value. Fuck. What level of branch is this? It's outrageous. Maybe I came too late, worked too little, and didn't have much experience. Has anyone seen a timeline branch of this level? Never. The most experienced guard captain and Mobius were stunned. They had been in the Time Management Bureau for so long, and this level of timeline branch was really the first time they had seen it. The love between the two locusts created the greatest time fusion in history. Even Doomsday could not erase the dazzling brilliance brought by this time branch. On the Doomsday planet, Sylvie and Loki held hands and quietly waited for the arrival of death. A huge meteorite fell in front of the two. Just as the two were ready to face death, 2 light gates lit up behind them. The Time Administration Bureau. At this moment, the Time Administration Bureau that had been chasing Sylvie actually became the savior of the two. Looking at the two locusts who were taken into the Time Administration Bureau and put on collars on the screen, everyone in the screening room was relieved. At least the two locusts would not die at the end of the world. In the Time Administration Bureau, the two locusts were separated. It was his old friend, Senior Agent Mobius, who led Loki to the interrogation room. Loki was extremely dissatisfied with this, and the reason for his dissatisfaction was that Sylvie had a large pair of guards to guard her, and the security level could be said to have reached the highest level, but Loki only had 2 pitiful little guards. Although one of them was a high-level guard with relatively high combat power, Loki was still quite unhappy. Loki struggled all the way and was pressed to a red light door. When Loki saw the light door, he instinctively felt that it was not good. Although he didn't know what was inside, Loki was sure that after entering, his end would be very miserable. Just when Loki was about to be pushed in, he shouted loudly, "Wait a minute, let me finish." "Okay, let him talk. Let me see what tricks this desperate liar has. Talk. The Time Administration is deceiving you." Hearing this, Mobius was directly laughed out of anger. "I waited for a long time, thinking that you were going to make a long speech, but you came up with this kind of 3-year-old child-level alienation plan. Throw him in." Although he struggled desperately, Loki was still thrown into the red light door. The next second, Loki appeared in a palace. Loki took a closer look. "I'm familiar with this place. Isn't this Asgard?" "That's it. That's it." At this moment, a voice sounded behind Loki. "You bastard." "Who?" Loki turned his head and saw that it was Sif. Sif, the female warrior of Asgard, was a senior general of Asgard at the same level as the 3 warriors of Asgard, and her fighting ability was even better than Loki. "Sif, meeting an old friend in a foreign land. Although this fellow villager and himself did not get along very well, but after all, he was still his fellow villager, and Loki was still surprised to see Sif. But when Loki saw Sif's short hair and the piece of hair tightly held in his hand, he suddenly felt something was wrong, and Loki instantly recalled a painful experience. Back then, he was still in Asgard, and at that time, he was still as mean as ever. So one day, he played a prank, and cut off Sif's proud hair. The price was that he was almost beaten to death by Sif. "You are a treacherous, cowardly, pathetic worm. You cut my hair." Sif cursed as she walked. Sif walked over and raised her hand to slap him. "You deserve to be alone for the rest of your life, forever." After being slapped, Loki instantly realized that this was a prison made of bad memories. Too old-fashioned. Loki commented, "Old-fashioned is old-fashioned, and it hurts. Old-fashioned things are sometimes very useful." Then Sif, without saying a word, attacked Loki's vital point between his legs with a knee attack, a fatal blow. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.